Hello, and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Welcome to the Dungeon Door Requirement Weekly. What's DDR? Is already the question that showed up in chat. Well, let's talk about it. I'm Tobias. With me on commentary today is Dobby Digital. Dobby, how are you?
I am both excited and nervous in equal amounts.
You're nervous-sided. That's awesome.
Nerve-sighted. So to answer that question that we got in chat, so DDR, or Dungeon Door Requirement, so it's a glitch rule set specifically designed for Randomizer. So it's kind of designed as a middle ground between standard and no I'm wrong work. So it bans the most powerful glitches in the game while allowing a lot of quality life stuff. So they are required to, in order to enter dungeons, they have to enter them more or less the intended way. In order to enter boss rooms, they have to stand in front of them and press A. As well, in addition, there are a couple of glitches that are just outright banned, so you will not see them doing anything like bomb hovering, item manipulation, wrong warping, or equip swap. Those are kind of the main ones. In addition, as you might have seen some of them via the thing, it is also designed as a specific type of event for DDR Season 2. So we have the settings all figured out for the second season of the tournament. And so this is kind of just half primer, half hype event of asking questions about the DDR rule set, asking questions about the DDR settings for Season 2, and asking some questions about glitches. So, as we'll see very shortly, all of the gossip zones will have, instead of having normal hints, they will just be asking questions with multiple choice answers to some extent. And if you answer the question correctly, it will lead you directly where you want to go. So, this should be very interesting. And if they are able to answer all the questions correctly, they'll just be told exactly where they need to go in all circumstances. Isn't that nice? Who needs rabbit?
Yeah, but if they aren't answering the questions correctly, what happens, Dobby?
Oh, that will be a fun time.
Will their seat self-destruct?
Not quite, but I did, just in case, I did plan some extra fun for them in Kokiri Forest if they try to do that. So, if they decided that they don't need to, follow the base premise of this game mode, well, they'll find out what happens. But we'll likely also see all of them go to the Gossip Stone that's on the ledge of Kokiri Forest. I very heavily recommended they do that, since that kind of has indications of how this is going to work. So. Cool.
Alright, so it looks like our runners are all ready, so let's kick them off. For start is the button I need to push. Good luck, have fun, and I apologize in advance, says Dobby in the race room. That can only mean shenanigans.
This is gonna go great. Fun fact, there are 40 Gossip Stones. I did not have time to test every single one of them to make sure the answers were correct. So, let's hope. I came across a fun glitch. Apparently, if your text boxes are too big and when you're doing your hints, it can cause some weird graphical glitches with the text box. So we'll see. Hopefully the text box works for the ledge.
That's going to be interesting. I mean, we're here to have fun. So Dungeon Door Requirement Season 2. I mean, we're gonna learn about the settings during the race, I guess, so probably best not to ask too many questions about it right now. Oh, great start! Was that planned out, or was that up to chance?
50-50. I planned out a specific location for one of the questions, which will come up later, and then forgot about the consequences of some of my other choices. So, whoops.
I mean, sure.
Consultant, I told you. What did I say? This is what happens. Just go to the Gossip Stone. I told you. See, Shiro's following instructions. See, thank you, Shiro.
Okay, so Shiro is going to tell her, welcome to the DDR Season 2 quiz. Questions asking about the DDR2 rule set. Multiple choice. After doing the poll... Oh my gosh.
Shiro's speedrunning the reading.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're also seeing a question on X side, but I'll be honest, I can't read that quick.
Let's see, I can open up a list if we have the options, if we want, so that way, in case we miss any questions. I have to remember their numbers, though.
Oh, nice callback to Sage. Great person. And we're glad that we got to know him.
Yes, I thought that was appropriate.
Indeed.
Shiro, what are you doing? What are you doing, Shiro? No. Engage
Category
in the
settings. Item heart container. Okay.
And Meg just dipped. He's like, no, I don't care. So Sun
Category
Song.
rule set. Item Sun Song. Multiple choice. When are you allowed to cross the gap for Gerudo Bridge? Answer. Once you have Epona's... Oh god.
They're so fast.
Oh my gosh. I do need the question list, it turns out.
So let's see. So that question on Egg side. When are you allowed to cross the gap for Gerudo Bridge? The A is once you have a Epona Song or Long Shot. B, once you find the shuffled Gerudo card. C, Gerudo Bridge is not broken. Or D, all/none of the above.
Oh boy. Quick note. You have a question in the race room here. Because it turns out the consultant's Nintendo game, or Nintendo 64, crashed on reading that gossip stone. So I guess we found our first issue? Alright, so, it turns out that longer Gossip Stone texts seem to... Okay, settings, item strength upgrade. True or false, there are 4 always hints in DDR Season 4. If true, location London Ranch, Gold Skulltula house window. If false, location London Ranch, Gold Skulltula back wall. Oh, now I get the premise of this race. So basically, every location that isn't specifically hinted as a correct answer is an ice trap. Did I get that right?
Not quite, because our logic will be mad at me if I did that. But there are definitely a couple locations that are hinted. But for the most part, most of the useless ones are going to be bad, and you don't want to use them. So I need to just give me a second. I need to grab the... I'll grab the thing for consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Here, and then Quizzy.
So these are not Ventinor, the settings, the S2 settings for Dungeon Door requirements. Basically, this is a seed played with Dungeon Door requirement rules, with, as you can tell, a bunch of Plando in it. And but these Gossip Stone quizzes are actually about the Dungeon Door requirement rule set. Or rather, sorry, not the Dungeon Door requirement rule set, just they are specifically about Dungeon Door requirement Season 2 settings. And Pepperoni, yes, I get that same feeling, but here we are. Okay.
I just sent it to there, but we'll see.
Alright. So Shiro still seems to be opening a lot of chests. That one's a skull token.
So yeah, now I'm back. My apologies. Apparently that causes issues. So on my end, it caused graphical issues. Apparently on N64 it crashes. This race does not have chest-sized matches contents on. If we find any of the locations that are hinted, you will see there are some fun things though. Where I might have made it so that you can't easily tell which answer is correct.
Oh, the two answers contain triple negatives.
No, but I do have ice traps, set with a mask of what item they're telling you they are. So, one no team cooking. Also, welcome Zelda Speedruns with the party of 69.
Nice. And yeah, welcome to Dungeon Door Requirement Shenanigans. So this is a seed that we're playing with Dungeon Door Requirement rules, but as you can already tell by the hint stones that you're seeing, there's a bunch of Plando in here. Specifically, this is... the hint stones give you quiz questions about the Dungeon Door Requirement rule set in general, and specifically about DDR Season 2, which is about to kick off. Which means that if you answer those questions correctly, great, you will know the location of an important item, like for example a strength upgrade. If you answer them incorrectly, well... ice trap.
And it looks like Dotso opted to skip that question. He will need that later. And so that does tell him where the Forest BK is, but he may opt to just only check that later once he's going to actually do Forest.
Alright.
In the bottom right, we have question. There are 4 always hits in DDR Season 2. True or false? What does chat think? How many always hits are there? Those who may not be aware, always hits are a fixed number based on your settings. And so you are able to figure out directly there.
Oh, that's a very generous hint, though. That Dotso just found. Are you looking for fire arrows? Epona's... Sorry, what? Epona's Song of Time?
Yeah.
Look around these 3 locations. I mean... Hey, that's basically 3 Way of the Hero hits.
They're, not needed. Fine.
But useful.
I also realized later, you might need Zora's Tunic in this, but apparently you're good, so... It's gonna have playset early enough. I was gonna add, we also have Iron Boots if you need them. It is possible to get an always hint for a Zora Tunic. True or false? I.e., if you get a hint stone for an always hint, can the item on it be Zora Tunic?
Why couldn't it be? All dungeons, J-Dude.
It is all dungeons for both the bridge and the boss key.
Yeah, so there is no getting into Ganon's castle early, and we're gonna be spending some time with this seed.
Apparently the coloration faded there for some reason. All of those locations were supposed to be colored, but whoops, telling you which one's in which. Apparently that the Plando didn't include drop that at some point. To get to the Water Temple boss
room, you need either the Longshot or the Hover Boots. That's clearly true. Even I know that one. Wait. Bomb hovers are not allowed.
Correct. So yeah, so this is based in relation mostly to glitches. What techniques are you allowed to use? Are you allowed to use in DDR? In No I Am Wrong Warp, this answer is different. Because in No I Am Wrong Warp, you are able to bomb hover. But no, Mega Slip is not able to cover that distance. So you do have to do some techniques, including a hover slide, or obviously using long shot like you're supposed to.
Hover slide is allowed, so hover boots would allow you access to Morpha here, right?
Correct.
Whew. Okay. Alright, so by the way, let's talk a bit about Dungeon Door Requirement in another sense. We are talking about the DDR rule set, obviously, and we're talking about that a lot of glitches are allowed in this rule set that are otherwise maybe forbidden in the standard rule set. But we should also mention that DDR seeds are usually generated using glitchless logic. So there are a few tricks enabled that are not enabled in standard settings, like backflipping over Mido. But if you are moderately competent at OOTR, you can definitely just beat a Dungeon Door Requirement seed, even if you know very little or no glitches. These are meant to be accessible, and these are meant to be fun and a fun way to learn glitches in OTR, right?
Correct. And also remember that answer for later. It may or may not be part of the question.
Oh dear. Whoops.
This is good. I don't remember where that question is, so it's great. And in relation to that too, if you're like, oh man, there's so many glitches, what should I start learning? Well, good news is that conveniently right outside of every dungeon, for example, you see on Dodge's side, I kind of have some general recommendations of like the kind of key glitch in that dungeon. So if you're looking for a list of glitches you can learn, that's probably a good list of where you can start out with. There's a couple other ones that are kind of scattered throughout the world that are designed to kind of be like a very basic idea of what's good to know. Obviously, as Tobias was mentioning, not necessary. It's glitchless logic. You'll always be guaranteed without. But yeah, it's kind of a good list to start if you're wanting to look. Dotso's thinking about this real hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this question takes some thinking. True or false, if there is a key in the post-boat section of Shadow Temple, you cannot keylock yourself with cage clip. I'll be honest,
So
that's a lot of mental going back and forth that I would need to do to answer that.
So for those Tobias thinks about that. For those who might be aware, cage clip is apparently the technical term for in the room in Shadow Temple that's just past the first silver rupees room. You can fall down into the basement, and it's supposed to lead to a shortcut where you move the block and give access to the boat. But you can actually kick clip through that and get access to the boat much earlier. So the question is, are you able to, if you do that clip, there's a possibility in some circumstances you can accidentally key lock yourself, where you use the key for the final door. You use the one that you're supposed to use on the first door instead. And we do actually have open door time, so they can go adult whenever they want. So hover boots on egg side. The 3 dungeons / mini dungeons with the highest number of checks are in order.
Good
A,
grief.
GT, Spirit, and Shadow. Spirit, GGG. Are those two the same answer, or do I flip things around?
No, GGG Spirit, Shadow, Spirit, GGG, Shadow. Shadow Spirit, GGG, or Shadow, GGG, Spirit? I mean, GGG has... Question. You already have shown that that skull tokens are shuffled. So that is a significant extra amount of checks. That's 3 to 5 checks depending on dungeon. Oh god.
Yes, but that is not that isn't in use for DDR Season 2. That is specifically because there are not enough locations in the game that have groups of items for this planned out. So specifically for DDR Season 2, you do not have to worry about that. Oh no, Egg, you accidentally exploded yourself to death.
That's not good.
Oh no, why did you do that?
Rip.
He's just doing a death warp. On Cher's side, we're also checking out a couple of more hints. The hints are very much front-loaded in this. You can get to a lot of hints really quickly. Also, the reason that I gave everyone warp songs was to make this even easier to do. So basically, you are free to route and find all the hints you want, and then route the rest of the world accordingly.
I mean, that makes sense. Are there boss keys? Asks Scalo. I think there are, right?
There are indeed boss keys, so...
Also, like, this is one of the core tenets of DDR. You cannot skip boss keys or boss doors. Dungeon door requirement means you have to enter the dungeon the intended way through the dungeon door. And you have to enter the dungeon's boss chamber by standing in front of it and pressing A.
Which, for the adult dungeons, does require the boss key. So you are always required to get those. In terms of what glitches are allowed, most of them are. There are some general exceptions, like there are some outcomes that are banned. So things like you are not allowed to clip into dungeons, you are not allowed to clip into boss rooms. So those, regardless of how you do it, you're not allowed to do that. But then in terms of glitches that are outright banned regardless of the circumstances, You aren't allowed to do bomb hovering. You aren't allowed to do item manipulation or wrong warping. You aren't allowed to equip shop. And then there's a couple of other more situational ones that are also banned. There is a link on the wiki that has a full list if you are curious. But they're kind of just more situational things. Oh, on the top left, we have on Dotso's side, the question is how many, how is it phrased? How many items can you collect in GTG via Weird Shot? And then there was a couple ranges, 6 to 7, 8 to 9, 10 to 11, or all stuff. And you can indeed hats, you are allowed hats.
Weird Shot, for those who might not know, for those who might be more familiar with Standard, you can basically... Oh, it's such a weird state that you end up in, but what it ends up being is you can, if you roll into a bomb explosion just right, you can hookshot from basically way below where you're actually standing. That is a very non-technical explanation, but it shall suffice. What it means is basically in the GTG maze you can hookshot to every single chest without needing keys, by just basically being underneath the barriers, underneath the fences inside the maze. Floors are indeed optional, and yes, hessing is allowed.
We got some fun. Egg is currently in the fountain, so he's checking some things. Well, so this question: can you bring Bruno up to Jabu Jabu, up to the top of Jabu Jabu using Beery Hover? So those might be aware that's a trick that lets you, lower the bridge, so you're able to then just bring the box directly. Are you allowed to do it?
Who needs crate clip? Who needs crate skip if you can just bring the crate?
And on Dotso's side, so we got a question regarding which of the following items cannot appear in a foolish location. So there's a list of items, and then whether or not some of them can appear in a location, and you get a foolish hint. So, for example, would you be allowed to have a bow in Forest Temple and then get a hint saying Forest is foolish? Is that possible or not?
Yes. That one I actually know because it's the same as Standard.
You would actually be incorrect.
What?
That's why the previous one, when you were asking about the progressive strength, is not obvious. We actually have, in order to prevent effectively bait, we do have methods to prevent locations from being hinted as foolish if they've got certain items. And J-Dude, you are actually correct. The answer is none. So none of those items can. Yep.
Bobby?
So I think Dotso just noticed the juxtaposition of two of these questions, which I think they actually ended up getting shuffled. They weren't originally next to each other.
Oh, nice. What were those two?
So, can you have... Effectively, the questions are, can you have bow, bomb bag, magic meter, or progressive strength? Can any of those be in foolish locations?
And again, I was foolish to think that apparently bow cannot be in foolish locations. Or can be in foolish locations, if both bows are bow locked. Because I've seen that in standard seats, and apparently that's not the case in DDR. Okay.
Yes, we specifically had that happen. It was a huge fun thing that Shiro rolled the seed that ended up with 2 bow-locked bows in Barren Shadow. And in DDR, the main reason that we don't allow that is because in DDR, you're skipping a lot of what the logic expects. So if it does end up being a foolish bow in Shadow, for example, you can probably get it anyway. So it telling you that it's foolish is just preventing you from getting an item that would otherwise be accessible to you because you're going to skip it. So it does mean that there are some items that could be hard bow lock. Like, for example, even in DDR, if there ends up being a bow at the eye statue in GTG, you cannot get that in DDR. So that absolutely requires bow. But the trade-off is that most of the time, it's going to be more helpful for you.
Hey, hello, you're being a dick. But yes. Barren location can contain a logically unnecessary strength upgrade. Okay, so that is... True or false? It is recommended to buy a Hylian shield in most seas. Answer, absolutely true.
Oh, I forgot to turn on Shiro's audio.
Ow. Well, sadly, too little too late, but we will... I think, as far as I'm aware, Shiro will probably have words for us for that hint.
Yeah, Shiro will have words for me, and they're going to be great. So for those who may not be aware, that is a big topic of pseudo debate in the DDR community. You need a shield for a lot of glitches. A lot of movement stuff like hover slides. You need them super slides, hessing. So a lot of things require mega flips. A lot of things require a shield. And so it's a matter of debate whether you should buy a Hylian shield, which will let you then do those tricks much sooner, or not waste your time collecting a shield because the seed is going to give you a shield when you need it. Most seeds false, all seeds true. I see what you do there.
All right. Touche, yeah. There will always be four Way of the Hero hints. That sounds like it might not be true. Just because because sometimes there might just not be enough hintable items to create 4 Way of the Hero hints, correct?
So you're correct, but for actually the wrong reason. So it's very likely that there will be 4 Way of the Hero. It's possible there's not, but the main thing that's going to limit that is actually DDR Season 2 uses a weighted hit distribution. So rather than being fixed numbers of hints of each type, there's a probability distribution with like saying, hey, this is the next hint you draw. This is the probability that it should be Way of the Hero. This is probability that it should Foolish, etc. So in any given seed, it's going to vary how many of each different kind of hint you get. The one exception is Path of Magic. You are always guaranteed 1 Path of Magic hint that is duplicated. But other than that, RNG, baby!
Lovely. So there are statistical probabilities, but there is not a certainty that there is a specific number of hints, basically.
Correct. The good news, though, is that the hints in general are very strong. Technically, they're very strong with Magic, is the hint distribution for the most part. And so most of the hints you're going to be getting are going to be very good. There's only a couple of the types that aren't really used. There you go. And so we got Egg deciding to answer answering his question about the magic meter. He answered correctly.
Hey.
That specific question being if Path of Magic hints are necessarily also Way of the Hero items. So is that true or false? So if you are more familiar with Standard, Path of Magic is added to DDR. Since you don't really need magic for that much, and so they end up being a lot of seeds in what's called, we refer to as Muggle mode, that you're just looking the entire world to try and find magic. So this adds a specific hint to try and get you to find magic, or help you find it.
Basically, named item hints. You had a few in DDR Season 1, as far as I'm aware. How many did you keep for Season 2?
And actually none. So it's implemented as a path hint for magic, as opposed to a named item. In theory, you could do either, but at that point, there isn't a huge difference other than the logic aspect of it. So we opted for this one. I think that was a topic of debate for a while, and yeah, people like this, so we're good.
Sure. Okay, so what other path or named item paths will be there then? Except path for magic. Is then probably the right question to ask.
So that's the only like path hint there is. There are no other goals, and there are no other named items. So everything else is just RNG. What it ends up giving us. Some of them do tell you what item it is. Most of them, in fact, do. But some of them don't. Notably, I think you can get Wave the Hero, which doesn't tell you what the hint is for, just that it's important. Whereas item hints will. We got Dotso's side. He just did some ISG, I think. But F on Egg side.
Yep, Egg getting an unfortunate hit from. What was it? Was that an Octorok that just slayed him?
Yeah.
Oh, he's taking revenge.
The Snipe Pot. Coming back.
Yeah.
Murder. So Dayjude, that is actually incorrect. In DDR Season 2, we do specifically prevent the bow, the bomb bags, and the magic meters from being in barren locations. But we don't actually do that for strength. There are two possible reasons for this. One is that, strength isn't typically that useful in DDR. You can skip pretty much every instance of it, and so it's not really that helpful to specifically. It's effectively more helpful to have the barren location than it would be to have a hint for the strength. The second reason is probably related to the first. I think we just forgot about strength when we made those exceptions because we don't use them. So honestly, I think I kind of just forgot it existed.
I mean, that tells you precisely how much DDR players value the strength. How many disabled checks are there? 1, location Lost Woods Ocarina minigame. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that Dotso is pretty certain that the answer is Ocarina minigame. So 1
Yeah,
check.
Dotso seems to be very confident of that answer. And to be fair, like 2 days ago, he made an actual, like, hey, just checking. This is the hint distribution for Season 2, right? And he made, like, a sheet, and I saw there was one exclusion. I'm like, you're getting that question.
Ow.
How many questions are there? If I remember correctly, there are 37. So all but 3 of the Gossip Stones have questions on them. The other 3, one of them is the one at the start that just says, hey, this is how this seed works. One of them is like, hey, I ran out of hint stones, but here's how to find this other stuff if you need it. And I forget what the third one does. Oh, I remember the third one does, but we'll see if we get to that.
Third one is, why the fuck are you in Cow Grotto?
To be honest, I think it actually does start with that, basically.
Incoherent. This is specifically a showcase race, so these are not going to be in DDR race seats. Oh, magic meter hint. True or false? A Hess moves at a speed fast. Oh, I didn't see the entirety of the question.
True or false? Super Slide and Hess move at the same speed. Yeah, for the Hyrule Castle, the Storm's Grotto, the first things are, oh wow, surprise anyone came here. So you are actually correct. I appreciate it. Ninja Mullen. Yes, they do tell you Nick.
Yeah.
How many possible questions can Gossip Zone have? They can only have one. All of these have been planned out, so they all have specific text to specific locations that I wrote myself and placed myself. So it isn't there isn't a pool of them. It's just the specific 37.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a showcase for DDR settings. These are not, or these hint stones are not going to be in DDR S2 race seats. But we are basically using this to make sure every runner, or the runners participating in this weekly, know DDR S2 settings.
And typically, in general, a lot of the ones that are asking questions about settings are usually some of the easier ones, especially since you can usually just hold them up. And by contrast, that also usually means they're giving you like less frequently used items, things like scales. Ooh, I think Egg's about to choose incorrectly. Because I'm pretty sure there's nothing here. Yeah, sorry, Egg.
Fool.
I don't even remember what question that is, but I'm pretty sure this was wrong.
Now it's
if you missed it earlier.
Sorry, now it's consultant's term to have a think about the frequency or about the item count per dungeon. I think it's GTG, Spirit, Shadow in that order.
I need to double check which one's which because honestly I don't remember. The correct answer is B, which I think is Spirit, GTG, Shadow.
Oh, so the Sultanas do move Spirit up in that list in comparison to GTG. Yeah, makes sense.
It's not the Sculptor list, it's actually Map and Compass. So Map and Compass removed just barely pushes it past GTG. So yeah, with Map and Compass removed, if I remember correctly in the numbers, Spirit has 14, GTG has 13, and then Shadow has like 10 or something, I don't remember. It's got less, that's the important thing.
Okay. I was counting small keys. And GTG has 9 of those. That's what I got wrong in my head. Oh, hookshot hint. Which of the following hint tags cannot appear? Way of the hero. I think we've always hints. There are always hints. Junk hints. Or foolish baron hints. We have already seen the answer to this one. Dotso already has a hookshot. Yep, it's C.
It is indeed C. So junk hits cannot appear. That's the only one of the list that cannot. You can also check the hint distribution. If you can read that, it will directly tell you that answer. But yeah, junks are the only ones that can appear from that list. Everything's good.
Oh, software developers have an advantage once again. Hey, Zelda's Lullaby.
Yep.
That's convenient.
So junk hint is, as the name implies, it's basically a list of memes. It tells you nothing useful. It tells you stuff like, hey, Ganondorf 2024.
Yeah, or it says like, I don't know, what was it? End of game, Ganondorf wins.
Yeah, so they're not anything particularly useful. They're basically just a wasted hint gossip zone. But sometimes you want those because you don't want hints to be too strong. Or sometimes they're also helpful to make sure that you fill all 40. Cool. And we got Egg answering his question.
And grabbing his hookshot. Okay, so let's look through the items a bit. We obviously front-loaded on hints and on questions in this seed. So our runners spend a lot of time answering quiz questions or looking at quiz questions at least, and probably routing in their head how they want to pick up these items. But so far, slim pickings. I mean, we're looking at a hookshot, a scale, and a boomerang between our runners. The boomerang was on the Gold Skulltula on the island in Lake Hylia. Hookshot was on Dampe digging. And the scale was on Ocarina minigame.
And yeah, but that's kind of expected. And notably, if you missed the start of this, so they started out the game with all of the warp songs. So basically, they could go wherever they want and check whatever hints they wanted. So it's kind of expected that they started a lot of the game going through quizzes, trying to figure out where items are, so that way they could route better from the future, see what they needed and what's there. Dotso is thinking this one through, which again, this is one of the trickier questions that I actually got wrong when I first wrote it, and then I checked the actual listing and was like, ah, neat.
Again, I think if the answer changes if, whether or not you count small keys, because Spirit has 5 keys and GGG has 9.
Yeah, typically for that, like, you know, for checks here, it's kind of useful items. So like, it's not really counting the small keys because we don't have key sanity. So there are 10 big poses a check, but it's just got 1 big po.
Yeah, 10 big poses is the check name.
Yeah, it's just what the check name is called, but in pretty much all settings, it uses just 1 big po, and included the year.
For every single one of our runners, we're looking at them basically taking a really good, long, hard look at the hover boots question, because obviously those are super useful, and they want to get this question right.
We'll have on Egg's side, he answered this question correct. That is where the bomb bag is.
Ooh, nice.
So to answer Egg's question in race time, if he's reading this later, yes, I did put the bomb bag hint early. You're welcome.
All or none of the above is a mean answer.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure to have it. I've had many, multiple choice questions in school that they would be like, hey, multiple, and they all slash none of the above only pops up when it's relevant, so you know that's the correct answer. So I want to make sure to have it in like basically every single multiple choice, have that as an option.
By the way, Dotso did not answer that question correctly. Ended up with an ice trap.
Ooh. The number of players getting that wrong makes me worried, because, I mean, there is still a chance I screwed it up. But, thankfully, once again, huge thanks for Dusk for, reading through. He did correct some of my questions and answers, because a lot of them were badly phrased or wrong. So huge thanks for making sure that I'm not a complete dummy. So that I can't actually answer that question for you, Ninja Molly. There are technically exactly 1 extra bomb bag, 1 extra magic meter, and 1 extra bow. Whether they get them, that's up to them. Because, you know, one of the hints will kind of tell you where that is. Nice mega flip on Egg's side. So Egg has clearly opted to answer this question. And this one was also, I couldn't resist. So the question he's answering here is, can you get all of the checks in Ice Cavern without a bottle? True or false?
That should be true. I think there's ways to clip through all of the red ice in Ice Cavern. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I think I've seen all of them.
And you would actually be correct, and half the chat as well. You can actually get all of them without bottle, and you'll see a lot of examples of how to do that right now.
Okay,
so yeah, you can do that.
That
there,
looks very free.
It's definitely better than the old strat. There are actually like 4 or 5 different strats to get through there, I think. And yeah, I couldn't resist. So the item you get for doing this is a bottle in Ice Cavern.
You are a funny man.
So, I mean, that kind of spoiled the answer a little bit, but in theory, and the reason that the, that the generator was okay with this, is because technically you're expected to have Hero's Letter by that point.
Yep, and
But
rules
yeah,
that are
there is.
fully
You
counts
can
as an
actually
empty
get.
bottle.
Yeah, as long as you're able to empty it, which you can. So.
Hammered.
But yeah, there are tons of different methods to get all of the different items. There's triple slash flips to get behind the red ice, and there's like bomb pushes to get through them. So it's some really cool stuff. If you're interested, I'll be posting an answer sheet at the end, which has some links if you're curious. Or you can ask around in the DDR discussion channel. There are people who are way better at glitches than I am. Notably, all 4 of the people you see on screen right now. Speaking of which.
Speaking of glitches, let's talk about glitches though. I mean, we are showcasing DDR here, and while the quiz is interesting and important, kind of wild what we've already seen. We have seen a bunch of hessing. We have seen clipping through red ice just recently on X side. We have seen... what else have we seen? Oh right, Dotso I think used a strategy similar to early Kokiri Forest Escape to get from from Lost Woods to Zora's River without having Iron Boots or a Scale. Oh, might not have been Dotso, might have been one of the other runners, but I've seen that definitely. And now we are seeing a trick that is actually, I mean, you can do that in standard with hover boots, but turns out you can also use the pushback, the knockback from a bomb explosion to get into Zora's domain very easily.
Yeah, but you can use hover boots, you can use bombs, you can do there are so many ways to enter Zora's domain before you're supposed to. So it's usually a very minor inconvenience for these players. But as we mentioned before, if you are interested in playing DDR, and we recommend it, it's super fun, you don't actually have to use any of these glitches. They are completely optional, glitchless logic. So you are able to do as many or as few of these glitches as you want. And in particular, if you are interested, this is a hype event for DDR Season 2. So pretty soon we're going to be having a tournament. So if you are interested in learning DDR for the tournament, then you can come ask around, and we'll be happy to have you.
There's a ton of people, again, in the DDR channel, or in the DDR channels, I should say, in the OTR Discord, that are happy to teach you those glitches and happy to point you the right way, so to places you can learn them, answer any questions you have. DDR is a great rule set. It is kind of a bit of a well, not a breath of fresh air, but certainly for runners who want to try something a bit different than the standard rule set, certainly a great alternative.
And yeah, part of the goal of DDR is that it's not just a lot of times in No I'm Wrong Warp, a lot of times it's find bombs and win. It depends what dungeons you need, since even though I am Wrong Warp, you still have to do some item locations. But bombs are super powerful in No I'm Wrong Warp. So the goal here is that a lot of these items are still very useful. You still are going to need a good number of items for each dungeon. So it's kind of a balance between using glitches to their full potential, while still allowing, or we're still requiring some items. So it's not completely free. You do have to do routing, you do have to do execution, and you do have to do the combination of everything you would normally. So this is a fun one. In Donongo's Cavern, can you use the glitched damage, e.g. from QPA, to destroy the mud walls in Donongo's Cavern?
Let's talk about what QPA is.
Sure. So QPA, it stands for Quick Put Away. It is a glitch that causes you to, depending on how you do it, it causes you to have a glitch damage value. So when the game normally has a specific value for every different kind of action, things like on your sword, this particular glitch, it has gets a damage value that's never supposed to exist, and that includes a bunch of different properties or it's interpreted to have a bunch of different properties. Does one of the included properties allow you to destroy mud walls?
Is quick put away the thing we also use to light deco sticks on fire without ever having, such a thing as a torch nearby?
That is exactly quick put away. Yeah, and that's also the quick put away itself. The traditional method of getting quick put away. Sometimes there are other setups that are also called quick put away. So for instance, you can get the you can do an empty jump slash as a dolt, which has the same effect, but you're not doing like put away action in the standard sense. So yeah, so for the answer for you guys, we'll see Egg in a second. We'll probably be answering this question. So he is heading, his answer is false. He's saying you cannot do this. So we'll see if that ends up being correct or not.
I mean, you can destroy mud walls using blue fire, but I don't think you can make quick put away, make blue fire appear.
Yeah, that trick that Egg just did, it's called Doom Jump. So yeah, if you die on the same, or if you get revived by a fairy on the same frame that the hookshot connects with an object, it completely messes up the calculation for like where Link's supposed to go, and he sends you like flying off. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite tricks. There we go. So we'll see. Egg is answering that question is false. You cannot use quick put away to destroy the walls. And he was correct.
Goron Tunic, that's convenient.
So yeah, so the reason that it's incorrect, most of you are correct that it technically has ice arrows as one of the damage sources. And so if you have blue fire arrows activated as a setting, then yes, you can use quick put away to destroy those mud walls. But in DDR Season 2, we do not have blue fire arrows. And none of the other damage values it has are able to destroy mud walls. So in DDR Season 2, no, we are not able to do that, unfortunately, but we opted for something.
No blue fire arrows. Literally unplayable, I'm sorry.
Literally unplayable, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. And we'll see Egg just making quick work of the Dongo.
I mean, hardest boss in the game.
Yeah, I don't know how Egg's gonna do it. He's missing a three-quarters of a heart. I think he should go and heal up before taking care of this boss.
Mandatory.
It's the scariest.
Here's the problem, it's a mandatory 2-cycle. That's what I mean by hardest boss in the game. Like, you cannot 1-cycle this boss. It's impossible.
Well, but...
Except...
technically... Oh, you're correct, there is a setting that allows you to do it, but...
Yeah, Bonko. But, you know... kind of cheating.
It's also great because the OoT, the vanilla OoT speedrun community apparently has gotten people saying that they found a new glitch because they killed King Dodongo in 1 cycle, and then they have to repeatedly tell them that no, it's just this one setting and Rando does this as an Easter egg, which is great.
Shoutouts to the vanilla OT speedrunning community. Also great people, bunch of them.
They are fantastic.
Yeah.
Wizards, all of them.
I mean, look, they've broken the game to the point where we can literally have arbitrary code execution and can, you know, take over the entire console using controller inputs, as demonstrated by Taskbot.
I'm trying to figure out what Consultant's doing. Why is he so keen on getting this Skulltula token?
Is he just worried that you might have made this a skull seed?
Not that mean. I do make you do chickens though, so there's that. But as a bingo speedrunner, chickens holds a special place in my heart. There we go.
And that's a long
Egg
shot.
Has found his long shot. So this is the part of the game where we're probably going to see the players collecting a lot of items as they've gotten a lot of their hints. They're getting some of the utility stuff they need. They've got bombs, they've got boomerang, they've got hook shot and the long shot on egg side. So this is probably going to be the spot where we see them bouncing around a little bit, getting the things they need in order to beat the game. They do need, in order to beat the game, they are going to need quite a lot of stuff. Since it is all dungeons, they need to beat every single dungeon in the game, which means they need boomerang, they need hammer, they need mirror shield. They will also need either long shot or hover boots. And I think that's basically it. Because they're all needed. There's a lot of overlap between them. But in our next aid, we do actually see him attempting for a Hess. So people who weren't wondering earlier, it's this trick. So you roll into an explosion, and you hold a position just off from center. So that allows you to preserve your speed as you move backwards, and you can cross the Hyrule field much easier than you would otherwise. But one thing to keep in mind is that this isn't like the be-all, end-all of glitches. It feels really fast, but even like a perfectly executed Hess across the entirety of Hyrule Field only saves 20 seconds compared to backwalking. Like, it's not hugely significant in most instances. Like, if you go into a wrong dungeon, that's going to cost you minutes. So it is absolutely more important to worry about your routing concern versus just, being able to do Hess. Cool, we see Shira going for bottom of the well. I think she got the hint. There was a hint in the... where was it? Pack open Grotto, I think? Usually I put them at the closest one. Indicating about where you might find the bow. Let's see if I can find that question. Since we probably skipped it.
I mean, I've seen the start of the bow question, but I don't think I've seen it in its entirety. By the way, Dotso was murdered by a Tektite just a few seconds ago. Unfortunate.
I mean, yeah, unfortunate, definitely. So how many chests in bottom of the well absolutely require explosives to get? A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, or D, all slash none of the above?
I mean, we
You
can...
don't know how tempting it was to make C4, because obviously, that's the best.
I mean, let's talk about this, because obviously we can rule out 3 from the standard rule set. There are exactly 2 bomb lock checks in the well, in standard. But is there a glitch that can get us to one of them? Honestly, I don't know.
So what are people thinking? Is the answer 1? Is the answer 2? Is the answer none of the above?
Or all of the above, for some
Or
reason.
all of the above?
Nice little trick by Dotso there, by the way, getting pushed by that fire keys onto the switch, and some pause buffering later, that switch stays pushed even though there's nothing standing on it, and he's standing in front of King Dodongo without ever having that block move, having moved that block. I get words. And by the way, this is fire arrow entry without a bow, using quick put away.
So yeah, so that's it. It does the exact same damage value as previously when we mentioned that there is another way to get that lit Deku Stick. So this is one of those other ways. You can effectively do a jump slash with nothing in your hands, and that causes that same glitch value to appear, and you can just light all the torches that way. Also, I will be right back.
Oh no, I'm alone. We seem to be short a Dobby. Anyway, what we've also seen just then is, I think it was Egg in Forest Temple checking the basement early, because you can, by dropping a fish at the right time during the cutscene where Joel, Beth, Amy, and Meg disappear from the Forest Temple lobby, you can regain control early, and then you can just use the elevator just as normal before it ever disappears. This is, by the way, a setting that that is specifically in the randomizer for this glitch. There is a setting that re-enables some glitch-relevant cutscenes, specifically this one and, gosh, I don't quite remember, at least one other one. So you can check the basement in Forest Temple early, use the elevator to get there. And as long as you don't die, I think in Forest Temple the elevator will stay up. Meanwhile, Shiro has chosen correctly, has found her bow in the bottom of the well.
Perfect, I'm back, and it looks like Egg answered the question, but Forest Temple correctly. So yeah, if I remember correctly, that is what causes the elevator to reset. And the answer is everything I listed there will cause the elevator to reset. Notable. Oh my god, I forgot we had the fast speed up.
Oh god, we had so that is, by the way, a new feature from the dev branch, is that we are looking at significant speed ups for certain cutscenes and pushes. Fast armors push, fast forest basement push. So this usually, if you remember, took 10-15 seconds to rotate the forest basement one step. No, it's 1 second. Darunia in the Fire Temple, I think, is another one.
Yep. Those are the only two now. There used to be a third one. Used to be also Twin Rova. But now that's like affected. There was a change a long time ago that made it so that was no longer relevant. So yeah, the only two useful cutscenes that are turned on are the Force Pose and Darunia. We will see what Dotso is opting for, or what all our players are opting for, really, because at this point I think they're still routing decisions, or like routing where they want to get specific checks. Notably for Egg and Dotso, they have both their explosives. They both have the bomb bag, so it's a lot easier for them to check a lot of the grottos, which have other hints. The other players, I did make sure to have bomb shoes early enough that you could use those for a lot of the grottos as well. So.
Did you put Choose in Logic, by the way?
I did not, no.
Okay.
So Choose in Logic is not in Season 2. And in general, I don't put it for this either. So that way. Out of simplicity for the most part, unless I had to, I did not change the settings from the DDR Season 2. But as you might have noticed, there's a lot of things that are necessary for this to work. Notably, I had to... I added Song Sanity and I added Skull Sanity. So that way we have more checks that can be piled together. And so that way I can give all of the players the warp songs at the start. Does Egg have the 3 stones?
I do not think
He
so,
might.
no.
He doesn't have them tracked on his side, but, you know, hey. Oh, man, so yeah, he could get, does he have... Yeah, he's got 3, so in theory he could get Nocturne. Because of Song Sanity, there's not guaranteed to be songs, so who knows, could be anything.
But first, let's have a look around Goron City.
Happy 1 hour, everyone.
Yep.
Indeed. If you are just joining us and are wondering what DDR is, as well, chatters are, so DDR stands for Dungeon Door Requirement. So it is a glitch rule set specifically designed for Randomizer that allows for a lot of quality of life glitches while banning some of those powerful glitches in the game. So some examples of glitches you will not see include you won't see any bomb hovering, you won't see any item manipulation, and you won't see any wrong warping, and you won't see any equip swap. Additionally, the racers have to enter dungeons more or less the intended way, and they have to enter boss doors by standing in front of them and pressing A.
Yeah, so most of the glitches that are banned is basically they would kind of go against the spirit of a randomizer, right? So item manipulation, equip swapping.
Yeah, the two that mainly do that a lot, and item manipulation and wrong warping, that effectively let you get things you don't otherwise. In terms of the other glitches, it's a lot more subjective in terms of like, well, what's your line for using items for intended purpose versus not. And so DDR, the goal is kind of to open things up a bit more compared to standard, but still have some hard item requirements. So there's a lot of things that are hard required for you to do, even more so than item wrong. So it's trying to strike a balance.
Oh. Looked to me for a second like I just lost sound, but it was just Dotso restarting his console. Never mind. Okay. So Dotso is now having a look around the forest temple.
Perfect. So yeah, we see in Dotso's side, he did the, I assume exited before while I was gone.
He did, yes.
But yeah, if you didn't miss it last time, if you catch the bugs or a fish on one of 2 frames, you're able to regain control during the cutscene. So you can head over here before you're supposed to and just pop in while you still have control, and that causes the elevator to be here. Oh, did he go up too soon? I don't think so. I think he's good, right? Did he? He's not resetting, so I assume it's fine. And so yeah, if you did miss the start, the premise of this is that as a kind of a prep for DDR Season 2, this kind of, rather than having the standard hints that you would expect to have, each Gossip Zone instead tells you, effectively asks you a question, a trivia question about either the DDR settings, the DDR rule set, or some common glitches you might come across, and assigns the locations to each of the different answers. So based on that, you're able to then find the various items just by answering questions correctly.
Or you find that you answered incorrectly and get a nice cool breeze for your troubles. Which honestly, given the temperatures, at least over here in Germany, also not unwelcome.
Yeah, I mean here we're nice balmy, like, I think we're like probably 15 today. That's nice.
Honestly, I was just thinking about whether or not there was actually a location in North America that actually was still like 15 Fahrenheit, but that would probably be Alaska. But I'm assuming you're talking about Celsius.
Yeah, I'm from Canada, so I use correct units of measurement.
Oh yeah.
I'm not any Americans.
Makes sense.
Ashira's about to get mad at me again. This answer is incorrect. And I did make sure, you might notice that she was looking for a Goron tunic, and that looks like a Goron tunic. I did make sure that all of the ice traps matched the appearance. The only exception is that it wouldn't let me do that for a bottle. It got mad at me when I tried to set an ice trap to look like a bottle. So I put it as a Pono song instead, I think. Since that's also in that dungeon. But yeah, so if you missed the question here, the question in DC was if you can use QPA damage to destroy the mud balls in Dodongo's Cavern. And so Darshir, that is incorrect. So you cannot in fact do that in DDR Season 2. The main reason, as we mentioned previously, is that their blue fire arrows are not active. So there is no blue ice arrow damage. Or sorry, there is ice arrow damage, but those ice arrows do not have blue fire damage. So they are not able to destroy mud balls. Now, the reason I added this as a question, and it's kind of deliberate, it's kind of mean, I know, because this is actually not the same as in the No Eye on Farmware races. Those actually do include blue fire arrows, and so for a lot of these players who do double dip and do both, that actually is the case. That in a lot of the No Eye on Farmware races, you can actually do that. And we also saw on Egg's side, so there was actually a question in relation to this, is if you are able to collect every single item on, child side as an adult, using glitches.
You would need to find a way past the crawl space, right?
So yeah, so you would need to find some crawl space things. Oh, so Miss Yakuma, do you want to actually take this one, Tobias? Because you know them. You know this one.
Did he zero cycle Phantom Ganon?
It's either Zero Cycle or ISG.
Probably one of the two. So, Zero Cycle. You can get Phantom Ganon stuck behind the fence, basically, of the arena, which will basically make him, I think, not fly back up again as quickly. And the second one is Infinite Sword Glitch. If you interrupt a crouch stab with a text box, your sword will do damage at every single frame. You just walk around and anything your sword touches will take damage every single frame of the video game. So so 20 times a second. Which, yes, will demolish Phantom Ganon.
Yeah, it's one of the more common glitches for DDR, and most glitch rule sets, in fact, because it's actually pretty easy to do. Like, if you want to try it at home, like, literally, you can go up to, like, a sign or an NPC, and then just try and crouch stab and interrupt that with talking to them. And it's very easy to see when you get it, because you'll get, like, that white beam across your sword.
Yeah,
and yeah, that's
your sword will have
everything.
Your sword will have a rainbow trail or white trail, whichever, or your Deku stick, likewise. Lightsaber mode, exactly.
Yeah. It's especially fun if you've got rainbow trail on your sword. This do be facts.
Hey, ISG to deflect the energy ball and then throw him a new one. Yeah, sounds about correct.
Yep. And yeah, it's especially good for both Ganon and Phantom Ganon, since you are swinging your sword every single frame according to the game, so you can reflect beams, every single frame. It's not completely guaranteed, since there are some angles where Ganon can actually like shoot above your sword, so it can still hit you. But usually you're good.
Did we just see Eggmeister Water ESS, basically? He's went backwards super fast.
Oh, he probably did this game's version of a super swim then. If you get I have to remember my angles correctly. I think it's you have to you get not whoops, I need to close my window. It's raining. I think the sequence is that you get knocked back from a source, you land in the water, then you mash the Z button, and I think you either hold straight forward or straight backward. I think it's straight forward, but it's one of the two.
Oh, okay. There we see it on Eggmeister again. That is ridiculously fast. I hadn't seen that one before. Interesting.
There we go. I just remembered, like... Yeah, there are a lot of gossip stones. Nice Navi dive there.
That was a Navi dive. So, Navi dive. You basically can get yourself into a state where you're standing close enough to an edge near a body of water that when you then talk to Navi, you can dive straight down. So that is another way to, for example, escape Kokiri Forest early, or in this case, to get into Zora's Domain without having a silver scale.
We do see on Egg's side, he's getting past King Zora, because King Zora's a jerk. We don't like him. And you may know that there are ways to get past him in Standard, and you can still do so in DDR, but a lot of the ways are much easier, notably the adult one. There are several different versions as child as well. So you are able to do that no problem and just completely skip getting Ruda's Letter. Who needs that? Ruda's Letter is referred to as what, sorry?
Overrated.
Overrated, yeah. I thought I said or Boomerang, and I'm like, do you need Boomerang for you need Boomerang for Jabu, but...
No, I was just passing my opinion about Ruda's Letter. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's referred to in the community as the bottle with work. Because, you know, it's just a bottle that requires more work for you to do. On the egg side, we see the Mega Flip. So this question actually mentioned the fact that you are not allowed to do Beery Hover. But what you are allowed to do is you can do a Mega Flip to cross that gap. So that skips you having to get Ruto at all. So if you don't need any items in there, you can just skip straight to the end, and no worries. There we go, and Datsuko about to get his Rang right here. There you go, and Shiro got her Mirror Shield there. Ooh, nice Mirror Shield, tunic color too.
Oh, very pretty.
It's like a silver. And this looks like a really nice quick kill on Egg side for Baronade. Okay, it's escaping him a little bit, but there you go. Well, and does that... There you go, so that question earlier was asking what undoes ISG. You saw an example there. If you get damaged, most
ISG
of the
gone.
time you're getting ISG gone.
Is Egg just doing ISG for the swag here? Because honestly, that can't be that much faster than just hitting Baronade. Or is he doing it to conserve Deco Sticks?
Yeah, he only has 2 sticks, so he wouldn't have enough otherwise.
There's
Oh, sweet, there's a scale there. I didn't actually place that one, so neat.
Neat. Thanks, Rando.
Thanks, Rando.
Ha!
So apparently, Egg just pulled up a guide for the.
Yeah,
the,
I'm looking at the race time chat, and apparently, Egg was confused about missing hint stones. Was thinking that he must have seen all of them. Turns out, no. And to quote him, I forgot the dumb ones.
Oh, I thought you were going with I missed a clawed. Oh.
I mean, Alcott as well, but yeah.
Let's grab some heart. Thank you.
I mean, speaking of the dumb ones earlier, we had things like Hyrule Castle Grotto, so Hyrule Castle Storm's Grotto. We have Cow Grotto in Hyrule Field, and other lovely stuff. That yes, there are hint stones there. You don't, as you very rarely see them in standard. And I'm guessing DDR
you very rarely see them in DDR as well. Yes. So yeah, there are 40 gossip stones in the game. Most of the time, you see like maybe 15 of them. But there are technically 40 gossip stones. So you know there are a lot of questions. Altogether, only 3 of the gossip stones don't have any questions or items linked to them. So there are 37 questions in total in this. A lot of those are for items you do not need. Egg, Egg, you just passed by one you didn't grab earlier. Silly Egg. Pretty sure you didn't do the Storm Scrubber one there, but hey. Oh yeah, and I think this is the one he was complaining about, the Zelda's Lullaby one. Pretty sure that's this one that we have on Egg screen right here. So Zelda's Lullaby is required for which dungeon? Is it
always required?
Shadow Temple, Water Temple, Spirit Temple, or all / none above? So which ones is it always required in?
Is there a way to skip the boat in Shadow Temple within the DDR rule set? Because I know there's some fancy footwork you can do, but that might not be legal. Yeah. Well, then we know one of the answers.
What about the other 2? Is it possible to skip, or is it possible to skip Spirit and Water? The Zelda's Lullaby usage is one of those.
There is that chance, as minuscule as it is, for Zelda's Spirit Temple. The randomizer needs to have a really good day, because obviously you have 1, 2, 3, 4 checks that are ZL locked in Spirit Temple, and if even one of those has a key, or has an item you need, then in any other way, then you're going to need CL.
So importantly, it's not logically required; it's actually required.
Yeah, sure.
Logic, it probably requires, like, you know, 6 sandwiches, 2 boomerangs, a hook shot, a long shot, and, like, you know, 3 Hylian shields for some reason, because Spirit Key logic, but...
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, you can have seeds, definitely, that don't require you to have a ZL in Spirit Temple, even with standard settings, so... No, you don't need ZL in Spirit Temple.
What about Water?
That is possible if you just need to beat Baronade and you get a super early boss key. Baronade, Morpha, obviously.
So that is indeed correct. Shadow is the only one that's actually required for it. Even less than you know, in standard, since there's actually very few configurations that require them in Spirit, and I don't even know if you can. Like, I think technically you can skip all required ZL in Water Temple, regardless of where the boss key ends up being. But I'm not as familiar with all the glitches on that end to be able to comment. But you definitely can in have seeds that don't. So the answer is Shadow. Also, if you remember if you were here at the start and they all got ice trapped, the reason that happened is because that question, the locations for Zelda's Lullaby were 4 different song checks, one of them being the song from Impa.
Oh!
they have so all of the ones that are incorrect are set to be ice traps. And you know what setting is included here?
Free CL.
Skip Child Zelda.
Yeah.
So I realized that as I was booting up the game to do the first round of testing, I'm like, wait, oh.
And then you just rolled with it, obviously.
You know what? This is hilarious. If people pieced it together, it's an answer they can figure out they don't need.
And through a combination of ISG and was that a Mega Flip? Consultant is now in Zora's domain.
Wicked. Yeah, I think he probably I Mega Flip or Mega Side Hop. Mega Side Hop are usually preferred. They go the same distance, and I think one's just easier to do.
And I'm having tech issues. 1 sec. Let's reload the layout.
We see on Egg side, we see him going for one of the more classic QPA setups. So you can see there, if you missed it earlier, you can, if you get a glitch damage value on your Deku Stick, you are able to use, you're able to effectively have a fire sword when you're not supposed to.
Neat.
Doesn't this have strength? Why are you grabbing this one, Datso? Yeah. I mean, this is correct. I'm just surprised that Datso's grabbing strength.
He probably just wanted to show off his grasp of the rule set.
Maybe.
Warping.
Yeah. I mean, if you're grabbing all of the answers, I encourage this. Check all of the questions. Test your knowledge as much as possible. We see Consultant also grabbed his Sun Song here, so nice, not necessary by any means, but nice for time of day stuff. And on Shira's side in the bottom left, we see that she's also doing a Mega Flip. So her goal was actually to get to Zora's domain. So she set up a precise angle here, and she's just trying to get a Mega Flip, which she's got right from there. And you see it clips her out of bounds and into that loading zone.
Nice. Yeah,
then
you
needs
basically
to go like all
just,
the way around.
Yeah, then you'd find out that that loading zone to Zora's domain still exists as an adult. It's just blocked by an ice wall. And there you go.
Yeah, a mistake that OoT devs have made many times in this game is, oh, this loading zone's blocked off. That's fine, no one can access this. Since, you know, they don't do that. Oh, there's my fun one.
Surprised anyone came here. Ganondorf, you should check around the, what? Trials?
So it's if you're looking for extra supplies,
oh,
you should check around the trials.
In other words, somewhere in the trials there's light arrows.
No, we have a hint for light arrows elsewhere. But yeah, someone was asking earlier, are there extra bomb bags and whatnot? The answer is yes. So just in case you're running low on ammunitions and whatnot, I have an extra copy of a bomb bag.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you are required to answer the questions correctly in order to get your first copy. But I give you extras of basically everything in Ganon's Castle.
Free refills.
Yeah, free refills
very American
and
thing.
extra things. But I'm Canadian.
Well, a very North American thing.
Perfect.
For those of you,
and it also includes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it also it's also clearly Canadian because some of the items that are included there are heart containers. So free healthcare.
Egg is looking for his bow. And he is confused about where that might be.
By the way, I just told him he's gonna be mad. It's the open grotto in CAC.
Oh my god.
It's likely that he's forgotten. Like, it's such a common thing. He's probably either incorrectly marked it or forgotten that he grabbed it. That he, like, didn't check it yet. Yes, because that item is for bottom of the well. So, and typically I've generally tried to put the hints for dungeons close to the dungeon they're in. So bottom of the well is specifically telling you for an item which is in bottom of the well. So that's the closest I could get to it.
That's a logical location then. Alright. Here's a glitch that's already also allowed in standard that even I can do. Ground jump. Dotso has paused.
Pause. It's possible he had to go to the bathroom.
Right.
As a reminder, everyone, stay hydrated. And
hydrate or nitrate?
I don't know the technical. Yeah. It do be important. So Dotso is trying here for Big Foe. So there are setups that you can do in order to get it with... He's got Hookshot. I don't know why he's not just using Hookshot, but... Oh, it's for Big Foe, that's why. He doesn't have a bonus song, so he's doing a setup to get this with just juice. Oh! Oh! That was beautiful, Dotso. It's really hoping that worked.
So close.
There's also... You can also get a bow. There was a hint for one in bottom of the well, so he could technically just go get this. But this is cooler, so honestly, Dotso, I just really hope this works, because this is awesome, so...
What happened to our trackers? I'm just noticing.
Are they not here?
Specifically the trackers for Dotso and Shiro are just not populated. One sec.
We're currently experiencing some technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah!
And
there we go! Hey!
First
nice!
try.
First try, every try. That was amazing. That sounds... I mean, that kind of looks like that would also be legal for in standard?
I would have no idea. It doesn't involve any glitches. But, you know, in standard, that's not really any particular indication, so... it's definitely legal in DDR, that's for sure.
And there's hover
Dotso
boots for
getting his hover
Dotso.
boots. We got another quick or empty jump flash on Dotso's side, so we can see to light these torches. So when we have that asterisk at in DDR, you have to open dungeons more or less the intended way. It's for stuff like this. So all the game cares about is lighting the torches, and likewise, all we care about is you have to light the torches. How you go about doing that is entirely up to you. So you are allowed to use fire arrow entry. You are allowed to use quick put away, or empty jump slots, like you see here. And you are allowed to obviously use Inspire as well. So Dots is using that in order to get in to Shadow here.
Let's see. I guess Egg is at the point where he's rechecking instones now.
Yeah, and Azure, it's very possible that Bo is actually... No, he still needs Hammer, he still needs Mirror Shield. So he's missing a couple of Gossip Stones. Which we have seen all the other players have gotten these particular Gossip Stones. So we do know they exist. I didn't completely screw up, which is good.
Which is a good start, indeed.
So, interesting. Dotso seems like is going the forward way. So hyper aggressive. The DDR does not, for DDR, there does not stand for the DDR dance pad. It stands for Dungeon Door Requirement. So that is the rule set in use for this. So what that means is that it's a specific rule set for Randomizer that allows a lot of quality of life glitches while banning some of the powerful glitches in the game. So it's the name for the rule set. Unfortunately, no one has yet to do it on a DDR dance pad, and we're kind of hoping that like Rez does that because that would be hilarious.
I mean, that could be a sub goal.
That could be a sub goal, maybe, if we convince him. There we go. So Dotso getting the question correct. That if the question there being that if you have a key in the back of Shadow, it is impossible to key lock yourself in Shadow Temple. And the answer to that is correct. So that is one of the very general conditions. There are a couple others that work, but that's one of them to guarantee you don't key lock yourself. We see here Egg is very clearly trying to figure out what Gossip Stones is he missing. Because he knows he's missing at least 2. Actually, he's missing at least 3, because he doesn't have Mirror Shield, Hammer, or Bow. And all 3 of those have hits for them. Shiro, I think, is getting wise to my tricks and isn't trusting the fact that she sees a boomerang. Oh, we have Consultant. Here's another one of the really... I don't honestly know why there is a Gossip Stone here in the game. Like, this one makes really no sense. But Metagoron technically has a Gossip Stone next to him, so... And so that one is Sinfire. What are the conditions for unlocking Rainbow Bridge? Is it 4 dungeon rewards? 6 medallions?
We are talking about DDR settings in this case, sorry, DDR Season 2, and we are not talking about this particular seed, which we know to be all dungeons, right?
Correct. Yeah, this is all of these questions are specifically for DDR Season 2. In this particular one, once again, if you happen to know how to read a Plando fire, it's very easy. You can literally just look it up. And I did recommend to all these players that it probably would be handy to have the settings handy, because then you can check these things. Dotso also has multiple ways to cross this bridge here. So in DDR, you can use a hover slide to cross it, or shoot a bow, or you can be cool and use a chew. We'll see. I'm not sure how many rewards this gives Dotso. I think he's doing pretty well in terms of dungeon rewards. Because he got his. Let's see for his tractor. Yeah, looks like this will be 6 for him. 6 out of 9, so not bad at all. Just 3 more after that. Come on, egg.
Right, there's another strength upgrade. Not the strength upgrade that Dotso picked up earlier, I might add.
Yeah, so I think there are 2 strength upgrades that are available. I forget where the third one is, actually. I think it just got placed randomly in the world. By the way, Tobias, are you checking the race room chat?
Yes, I am.
Cool. Just not sure how that works on your end, so. There you go. Egg check the grotto here. Perfect. And so we'll see Egg is about to go to Bottom of the Well to go get his bow. You did just get the hint for it.
Right, yeah, that certainly unlocked the seed for him. So Egg needs the bow, he needs the mirror shield. What else does he need for... well, is that go mode?
He'll need hammer, and he needs mirror shield, bare minimum. I think beyond that, that's probably going to be go mode for him. Hovers are not required. They're kind of really useful for a lot of places, but and depending on what items you find, may or may not be good for you. Because you need either long shot or hover boots to beat the seed, since you need to do water temple. But which exact one you find is really dependent. So. But in general, I think for most of these players, given their current item layout, I don't think they will need it. Yeah, so the animal abuse there, it's referred to as cuckoo dive. So sort of the same, principle as the what do you call it? The same principle as Navi dive. While you're in a cutscene, the game just lets you go straight through water.
Yeah,
and so
water suddenly doesn't exist anymore in a cutscene.
Yeah, who needs water during cutscenes? Water's lame. And so you, if you're able to activate the chickens getting mad at you cutscene at the same time as you do the, at the same time as you land in the water, you just go straight through. And it is objectively the best way to enter bottom of the well. May or may not be actually hint related to that. And we see Dotso here doing... so as we mentioned, there's not a ton you really need Zelda's Lullaby for in Water Temple. There's also not a ton you need Iron Boots for in Water Temple. There in DDR, you can skip most of the time in most configurations. You can skip those items.
So another Navi dive coming up on Shiro's side. I think.
Well, yeah, we just need Navi to decide to show up. I also appreciate Dotso picking up bomb drops at 20 bombs. If I feel it in my soul, I do the exact same thing.
Oh yes. Sometimes you just can't leave items behind like that. There we go, Navi dive from Shiro. Again, water doesn't exist in cutscenes.
Yeah.
Well, X-ISG is giving that gossip stone a pummeling, but here this is what did you say? Empty long jump?
Empty jump slash?
Empty jump slash, sorry. Empty jump slash to get that damage value of fire onto the master sword here.
Correct, yeah. So it's you're through a very precise sequence of actions. You're putting away a sword, walking off the edge, and then doing a jump slash in that order, one frame after the other. And so then you're doing a jump slash in the air with nothing in your hands. So the game has no idea what damage value to use, and it just puts a garbage value. The same one that it uses for other garbage values, which means that you get the fire. Got fire.
Honka DMCA. Alright.
Perfect. And so we'll see Dotso, he now has the water boss key, so he's likely going to be just beating that boss. And then he still needs to grab his mirror shield and his hammer.
So that is allowed. Hover slide. With the bomb just giving him a bunch of momentum that he can carry across that gap, right?
Correct, yeah. So the hover boots there, the combination of, or really in this case, it's the hover boots, in the air, you don't lose very much speed at all while the hover boots are active. And so you're able to just, you activate those, fly straight off the edge, and use that giant boost of momentum backwards to cross gaps you're not supposed to. And that is allowed in DDR. So the only thing that is really banned in terms of like hover-like things is using actual damage to stick in the air. Which is why previous questions we had for Theory Hover, that's why that is banned, because that is still using a damage source. We see on Egg's side, we see him actually setting up here for a clip. So what you can do is you can, you can position yourself very, very carefully, and then if you do a mega flip from that location, you skip even having to do the truth spinner at all. This is, of course, not required. You can do a mega flip without it, and it's less precise in terms of distancing. But, you know, if you know how to do it, you can do it regardless.
Come on, the swag value is off the charts for that one, so there we go. Beautiful.
Beautifully executed.
It is Morpha beaten for Dotso with the Spirit Medallion in the Water Temple.
Yeah, this game almost, in a lot of circumstances, it really feels almost like it was on purpose with how they set these things up. So I'd probably say that at this point, Dotso is leading in terms of, for sure in terms of the like rewards. There are some items that other players have that Dotso doesn't. For example, Shira has the Mirror Shield, which Dotso does not have currently. Does anyone have Hammer yet? I don't think so. No one's got Hammer, which is the other big one.
We did see
We also
the
know
hammer
that
hint,
Egg.
though, didn't we?
Well, I'm pretty sure we did. We definitely, some of the players have said they found them.
But yeah, I would say at this point, Dotso has a pretty sizable lead. Is 2 medallions from being able to enter Ganon's castle. It really depends on how fast he can find the mirror shield and how fast he can find the hammer, as you said, for those last 2 dungeons. Oh no, that is Shiro not quite getting that mega flip inside Jabu, and taking a death here. 2 fall damage. That mega flip isn't easy.
Yeah, it is somewhat precise. If you use bomb choose, there's a nice way you can just get directly on the edge, so that's helpful. So that it is one of those circumstances where it's nice to have bomb choose to do that. Welcome, KitKat, and welcome to our raiders. So how's Logic looking so far? In my completely unbiased opinion, I'd say pretty good.
I mean, it's a plan though, you wrote it, so...
I don't know what you're talking about. Completely unbiased opinion right here. And for those who are just joining us, welcome. So this is the DDR Weekly. So this is, in particular, a very special DDR Weekly. This is a promo for DDR Season 2. And what's happening here is that our players, previously, they have gone through the game and taken a look at Gossip Stones. And all of the Gossip Stones, rather than having traditional hints, they instead have questions. So usually these take the form of a multiple choice question with the different locations, or the different answers corresponding to different locations within the game. So they have used these to try and figure out where are the different items. This is using the DDR rule set, so if you are not familiar, the DDR rule set is a glitched rule set between standard and no wire and ROM work. So it allows for a lot of quality of life glitches while banning some of the powerful glitches in the game. And as I mentioned, there is a tournament coming up, and so this is both a promo for everyone, just to get everyone hyped up for that tournament, and also making sure that players are aware of the different DDR Season 2 settings, as well as the rule set, and some glitches they might come across. If you did happen to miss the questions at the beginning, I will be posting this seed, so if people want to play through it, they're perfectly welcome to, and see what they get right or wrong.
Yep.
We'll also see afterwards what answers I got right or wrong, because we have some very big disagreements in the race time chat, so I'm sure we'll be discussing a lot of those.
For sure. And I think that's also a welcome side effect of doing this race, is just you are challenging everyone's assumptions and your own assumptions about how these settings work, and basically validating that everything seems reasonable and seems thought out. And it's there we go. Nice. Shiro here making that mega flip over to Baronade, or make it to Baronade's antechamber, I should say. Now all that's left to do is the part that's also executed in standard settings races, crate skip, getting through that door without ever bringing a crate to leave on the blue switch, and there we go. That's done. Yeah.
And so yeah, Mr. Elliott, I think at the point you posted that, Egg did a like clip or enemy clip. I don't remember the exact mechanics of how that one works, I think it's that the lights and certain other enemies in the game, they get like right up against the wall, and when you hookshot them, when they're right up against the wall, it allows you to clip through the certain surfaces. So I don't remember the exact mechanics of why that works. I think the short answer is because OoT, but I don't remember the...
Because OoT is a well-coded game. Holy heck, that was a super quick and flawless cage skip, though, by Egg here.
Beautiful.
So yeah, Egg just clipped through that cage. Normally, obviously, you need to be coming through that door from the room with the two Gyptos in it. Need to pull the block or push the block away from that cage so that you can actually exit the cage and use the shortcut. But turns out, because OoT has certain deficiencies in how surfaces are put together, you can also just clip through the space where the wall and the cage meet. And normally there's a pretty involved setup for this. Egg just did that basically freehand and super quickly. I'm impressed. I know he's one of the best at DDR, but goddamn.
So you mentioned that there is a very complicated setup. There are about 65, I think, rounding down setups for that. So if you happen to think not like the particular setup, you can always ask. There have been so many setups come across the different years that there's probably one that you like. In particular, I like there's a version where you do like 3 side hops and then you do like some stashes and interrupt them, which is my preferred version that I personally find pretty easy. But ultimately, difficulty is very subjective. So if you happen to not like your particular setup or another setup, there are no shortage of setups that exist that we can help you rank you to. We are very willing to help whatever people want, so if you are even vaguely interested in joining DDR or even just doing these glitches, you can ask around in the DDR discussion channel on the Discord. So those will have people super thrilled to help you learn glitches. Likewise, there's the Gameplay and Tricks channel, which also have people who and will be able to help you out if you are struggling with a particular glitch.
There's another hint for an important item in on the consultant side. Looking at Hintstone right next to Spirit Temple, and learning about which item location was that?
So that one should be for the Spirit Boss key. Then the question that one asks is if you can get if you're able to get every single check on child side as an adult.
That Bongo skip was basically using the fact that before Bongo spawns, he is at the 3D coordinate 0, 0, 0. And if you drop a, a bomb there, you can stun him and just basically immediately murder him as soon as you drop down.
And that interrupts, if you do drop the bomb on him, it interrupts his animation. He's not able to trigger properly. So you can just jump down, no cutscene, and then murder him very quickly. And if you do happen to, if you do happen to screw that up and he starts moving around, don't worry, you can just bomb 0, 0, 0 again, and he will once again be stunned. That's one that pops up occasionally that people are freaked out, they screwed up. But you do have to be careful in one aspect, is that if you do happen to go to the Bongo fight too early, you can actually soft lock the game there. So always glitch responsibly, kids.
Nice words, and there's a bow for Dotso. Well, Shiro getting her hover boots. It is now on the way to Water Temple. Again, with DDR, hover boots are very useful, just not, for the temple that you are usually expected to use them in. Shadow Temple doesn't really need hover boots. Water Temple, really useful. And in other places, obviously, as well.
And Mr. Douglas, to answer your question, yes, all of this will work in the original game. None of these glitches are specific to Rando. In fact, I think there's only a couple that or added by accident. So all of these glitches that you will see will work as long as you are using the 1.0 version. There are some of the glitches, notably the glitch damage values, which will only work on 1.0. But for the most part, most of the ones you'll see are valid on any version, and all of them will work on 1.0.
To be clear, there's also a web patcher that can turn different version ROMs that you might have dumped from different game cartridges that happen to not be 1.0 into 1.0 ROMs. So
Yes, that's a very good point. Thank you. I forgot that existed. You are true.
It's really useful. And nice setup here by Shiro, getting that switch
Pixel
above
shot.
the entrance to Water Temple. It's another pixel shot. Getting that switch here. Ah, not quite. Mirror shield for Dotso in adult shooting gallery. So what you can do here is basically, without having hover boots, without having iron boots and without having a gold scale either, you can still get that switch above above Water Temple and get in there as well. But since that technically involves a clip, I don't think that's legal in standard.
For which one?
Oh.
I
think the Water Temple entry that Shiro is attempting here.
Oh, so this one, this involves a Navi dive, so I think it's banned in standard. Technically, I think you could open the gate, like you can open the gate with hookshot and then use, like we saw Dotso do, where he did the what's it called? He just dove with the gold scale. That is allowed.
Yeah, that's totally allowed.
The Navi dive, I don't think. There we go. So Dotso has both Mirror Shield and Hammer, so he should be in go mode at this point.
Should be really quick now.
Yeah, just needs to finish up Fire and finish up Spirit. We'll see. People seem to really disagree on this particular answer. I don't remember which one it is. I think it's the number of checks. Or which of the dungeons have the most checks in them. Which I'm not sure if they're counting keys. And for this question, I did not count like small keys as checks because they're within their own dungeon. Likewise, boss keys. So I was not counting those. It's possible they did, and that would probably change the result. But we'll see. That will unlikely be very likely be discussed afterwards to try and see. And so it seems like Egg was really looking for a small key. So one thing I did not plan out is the small key arrangements, because that sounds like a nightmare. So in general, the keys will kind of be almost anywhere within the dungeons. And as a result, you do need one small key in order to go to the location that has the boss key here. Mm-hmm. So we saw both Dotso and Egg just look around to find it. Did we see seam walk? Oh, yes. Zelda did a seam walk. Nice.
Indeed. Walking up the seam here to get up on the, well, for lack of a better term, to up the green wall in Hyrule Castle to make it very easily to the Storm Grotto and check another hint.
I was honestly not expecting players to check this much. So, as you might have be able to tell by the hint stone that you find here. But yeah, I'm kind of impressed. It's a very useful one. Super important.
100%. I don't have a question for you, but I can tell you that if you want more supplies before taking on Ganondorf, you should check around the trials. Okay, so we have 2 runners in water tempo right now. Shiro is looking for that water boss key. Meanwhile, Egg has returned to water tempo.
Oh, I know what Datsu's doing, so I forgot. He's not technically in go mode yet because he needs light arrows. And in order to get light arrows, regardless, I did very specifically pick it, that regardless what option you want for that question, you need Saria's song, which is in GTG. So they need to go into GTG in order to get the Saria song, and then from there, we'll be able to get light arrows.
And who needs to pay 10 rupees to the Gerudo? We just clip into the loading zone, and here we go into GGG.
Yeah. Like, they want you to, like, get captured or, like, rescue some people, but, like, really, they got captured, and that's kind of their own problem. We're just here to save the world, so we can't be, like, you know, distracted by your random nonsense. It takes way too much time, so we just break into the GGG. It's fine. Also, happy 2 hour, everyone.
Happy 2 hours. Shoutouts to our runners. Dotso, Eggmeister, Shiro, Eli, and the Consultant putting on a heck of a show for us. DDR certainly something of a different kind of settings and rule set, and very entertaining to me at least. And thank you so much to all of them for allowing us to restream them. Thank you also to my co-commentator Dobby Digital, and thank you also to our trackers keeping us appraised of what the hell is going on. Akashika, Lazy, and Neji Malevolent. Neji Malevolent, I should say.
And yes, huge thanks as well for Tobias, not only for agreeing to be on constantly, but he's also doing the restream side on his personal computer.
Yo.
So, huge thanks to Tobias for that.
My pleasure. DDR kind of has a special place in my heart. I really like the rule set. It allows.
Well, always happy to have it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's the kind of thing that I just. It's the feats of strength, basically, that I watch and know I'm never going to be able to do them myself, but I find them highly entertaining and love to watch them.
And if you are looking to learn, we are, as we mentioned previously, one, they are not required. So if you are looking to learn, you don't feel like you have to do all the crazy nonsense you see here. It uses glitchless logic, and so you are free to use as many or as few glitches as you want within the allowed rule set. But if you are looking to learn, you are perfectly welcome to ask around in DDR discussion or gameplay tricks, and we'll have people willing to help you. And if you don't know where to start, because there's an overwhelming number of glitches that are available, this seed actually has like a couple recommendations. Note the glitches that are mentioned in this particular seed are some pretty common ones that you might encounter, and they're pretty useful to know. So these include like different glitches that allow you to skip particular item locations, as well as some general movement ones like ISG, super sliding, slash hessing, or mega flips are generally good to know. So we see here Egg going for another triple slash click. So this was found relatively recently by OoT standards, that if you slash your sword 3 times in quick succession, the final slash that goes backwards has a lot of speed when it connects with an object, and it lets you clip out of bounds in some places because collision fails to work properly at high speed. And if you were wondering in terms of that question about about being able to access all of the trial checks as an adult, this is one of the methods you can do so. This is a little bit wonky in terms of this camera angle, but it is doable. There are also easier versions, in my opinion, with hover boots.
That is certainly a thing. Huh.
Right, so Datso grabbing, I'm pretty sure this is not the correct one. I don't remember which one is actually correct here, or which is the correct location. The answer is asking how many chests you can get with Weird Shot in GTG. So the answers are 6 to 7, 8 to 9, 10 to 11, or other. The correct answer is 8 to 9. I thought of 8, and then Dusk, who huge thanks again to Dusk for his help doing this, pointed out there was another one that I didn't think of. So I changed it from being 8 to 8 to 9. And so it's correct regardless if you count that one or not, because it's a little bit funky.
So we're looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4 in the maze, plus... What others?
So I can... Let's see, I can grab the list.
Does this involve weird shotting in the big lava room?
So, from the spoiler log, GTG freestanding key, maze right central chest, maze right side chest, hidden ceiling chest, maze path first chest, maze path second chest, maze path third chest, maze path final chest, which makes 8, and then the underwater silver rupee key, which is the kind of weird one, that technically you can also get, which makes 9. So, depending on how you count that extra one, it's definitely either 8 or 9.
Yeah, that makes sense. So all the chests in the maze, not just on the left side, obviously. Plus hidden ceiling. Yep. How many items can be collected in Gerudo training grounds via Weird Shot? Well, we've already talked about that just now.
Yeah.
Dotso still on the way to his last 2 dungeons. Also needs light arrows.
But I think Dotso did grab Saria's song, so he knows. Yeah, and he's the one that earlier pointed out the sneakiness of one of my questions. So I'm pretty sure he knows what's going on for this particular one. But yeah, so either do the he either has to go to the what's your name? You're right there. You're literally on screen right now. Skull Kid. So it's either Skull Kid or Dancing Darunia. And the question is asking if it's possible for a progressive strength upgrade to be in a barren location. So I'm not sure. We asked this earlier, but it's been a while, so I'm not sure what chat is feeling about that particular question, if it's true or false.
Let's see what chat feels about this one. We've talked about this earlier. Meanwhile, I can say that we have just seen Eggmeister making it to the child side of Spirit Temple here. Obviously, just as Nintendo intended. Mega flipping through the wall here, through the crawl zone.
Yeah, that's the way I remember doing it as a kid, and I specifically got an email from Miyamoto saying that this was technically how I was supposed to do it.
For sure.
Don't worry about how I got an email in, like, 1998. Don't worry about it.
Email existed then?
Yeah.
You all need to remember that the first, the earliest iterations of the internet are about 50 years old by now. The web wasn't.
That feels like it's too much. But it also makes me feel young, so we're good.
The web, as in the World Wide Web, as in websites, those are slightly younger. I think about 30 years old. But email, mailboxes, BBSs, those were certainly around before I was born. And based on my Twitch nickname, you can probably infer when that was.
Oh, of course. The year Tobias. This makes sense. Tobias was my favorite year, actually.
It's a good year.
It's a good year. Do we see Dotso grabbing some extra keys here? I'm not sure why. It may be that he didn't actually write what the other answers were, and so is just opting to go through the dungeon. If he remembers that they're on the outside, all of the checks were on the outside, so he should be fine. I honestly don't remember what all the answers were, and I wrote them, so, you know, that's fair.
I mean, we're talking about 40 instants. Did you did you include any repeats? Or is it literally 40 unique instants?
It's 40 unique instants. Now, only 37 of those have questions, but they are all completely unique.
Wonderful.
Some of them don't have, like, super useful items, so, you know, just in case someone who was opting to play this who might not be as familiar with glitches, there are hints telling you where you can find things like Sunsong, things like your iron boots, and typically those are actually easier hints. So if you're afraid and you want to go through this and you're like, oh no, I can't do all this crazy stuff, don't worry that a lot of times the easier questions are related to, like, things that are related to settings or things like that, which are a lot easier to look up or to know. So those ones are usually the ones that will tell you where to find some of the items that some of the super advanced glitch players are probably not going to be as likely to need, but some newer players might want them. And that includes, like, Inspire. That includes quite a lot, actually. Both strength upgrades. I think the only one that I realized this morning that I forgot to include somewhere was the Zora Tunic. Which is particularly relevant as the seed is also very unhealthy. There are a total of 6 heart containers, I think.
That's oh dear. It's not so pause buffering here?
So we say he's going for that same trick that we saw that Egg's doing, so triple slash clip. You know, at the third slash in your sequence, with the one that goes backwards, has a lot of speed. So you can use that to clip in a lot of different places, including right there. Which is actually fairly recent. Nice! We got a freeze on one of the ice traps. Beautiful. So if you didn't believe me earlier when it said that the ISG, or the glitch damage value, includes the ice arrows, you've got an example right back there. So you see that it completely freezes all of the ice traps, or the spike traps, sorry, which for some reason are vulnerable to ice damage.
Makes sense, I guess. In some universe.
Wait.
That Wolfos needs to die. Alright.
We also know that, if I remember correctly, Dusk is actually putting that in logic for MQ? MQ's water temple?
You're talking about glitch logic or normal logic?
In glitch logic. In glitch logic, I believe it's like using QPA specifically. I believe in MQ water, it is actually in logic to use ice arrows to freeze those. Because they move super fast.
Well then.
So I will be right back again.
Alright, and I think we've just seen Egg do that same clip that Dotso just did, triple stash into the adult side of Spirit Temple. Let's for go mode, yeah. One of our trackers might have misclicked that one after Dobby was a bit too enthusiastic about telling calling God Dotso as in Go mode. He's not yet. But here, another example of empty jump stash, and again, we use the Master Sword to light those torches. How that works? Well, glitch damage value. No, you can't avoid needing light arrows for Ganondorf. And it turns out, it seems to me like... hold on.
Holding.
Did Egg just... He just slipped past that... okay. So he just slipped past that Iron Knuckle... Or past the door behind that Iron Knuckle without ever fighting the Iron Knuckle. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why would you want to fight an Iron Knuckle?
Especially with 3 hearts. They hit hard. Yeah.
That was terrifying. That axe game is so close.
Yeah! And I think we might have actually seen a lead change right here. I think Egg is now ahead.
It's possible, though. I think Egg also is missing some extra stuff that Dotso has, because I don't think Egg has the Sario song yet. So there are some extra things that may need to worry about, but definitely pulled up a lot further than he was previously, where he's wondering where was that stupid bow hint that he missed that was in CAC.
And it looks like Egg is not interested in finishing the dungeon from the adult side, or by climbing all the way up to the top from the adult on the adult side, and instead opts to go for a sea walk along the arm of the statue. I think that's a sea walk, right?
I don't think it's actually sea walk. It might be, but I think there's just enough collision, so.
I see.
They just were like, why would you do this? We'll put collision, but why? Ooh, unfortunate there.
Yep. And butter knife for the consultant.
Oh, that's another one that I didn't play, so I have honestly no idea where it was. Did we found it?
Open grotto.
Oh, cool.
So our runners read those hint stones and never actually opened that chest. Likely just because they understood at that point that that most of the wrong checks are just going to be ice traps.
Yeah, if you don't know, like, specifically the ones that are ice traps are the ones that are, like, incorrect answers to questions. Those are ice traps. Otherwise, it's whatever the randomizer fully put in there, which honestly could include ice traps, I'm not sure. But it could probably not be useful for you. And I gave you all the warp songs, so you can just warp back if you need it.
So I think Shiro just got a bit disorientated by that fast forward placement spin, which is fair.
Yeah, honestly, we both forgot that it existed until it happened too. So how do the players remember so many different strats and lineups? So a lot of times it's a lot of experience. These players have played for a while. And in a lot of cases, it's as you go along, you'll play and you'll find out that, oh, I don't want to have to do this. Is there a strat to skip this? And so as you play, you build up more and more of a repertoire.
And you build them one on top of the other.
And a lot of times you also see that like they'll have different versions of things just because there are different setups for different items. And usually you don't really need to have that insane amount of knowledge in terms of like knowing every single possible way of doing it. As long as you know one way of doing it, you're probably going to be fine. As I mentioned, there's the cage clip is an extreme example, but even like accessing the checks in the left side of Spirit, there are tons of different ways to do that. Some of which require hover boots, some of which don't. And so, if you learn a version, that's definitely a good start, and will do you for most circumstances. And you'll just be able to find your hover boots, since the game expects you, or most circumstances are going to expect you to require that or Requiem. That made no sense, but that's okay. Can you tell I'm running on not too very much sleep?
Well, aren't we all? And here is Shiro in a crystal getting her fire medallion. Has beat Forest Temple. Meanwhile, we're seeing a boss fight against Trinrova from Eggmeister, who is about to either find the Kokiri Emerald or the Shadow Medallion from Spirit Temple here.
We also see Dotso is about to do the same trick that we saw Egg just do with the statue climb. So named because it climbs the statue.
Wow, descriptive.
I know. It's surprising for OoT, given like the history of bottle adventure, reverse bottle adventure. Half of the clip names being just like flip. So you know, this is one of the ones that's actually pretty good. Oh, we got a Doom Jump from Consultant there. Beautiful.
And Fairy. And again, this is Dungeon Door requirement. You can climb the statue, but you still need to walk through that boss door and press A. You need the boss key. So you could just clip into the loading zone behind the boss story. There are strats for that, but not legal in this set. Anyway, that's Naburo Knuckle done for Dotso, and yeah, Eggmeister is on the way to his last medallion, which we now know to be in Fire Temple, but he does need light arrows still, like Dotso, and he also does need well, doesn't technically need the hover boots for anything at this point, right?
Nope. So he does not need the hover boots. The only thing he needs is light arrows and as a consequence, Saria song. So it looks like he knows that they're in GTG, so he's going to be doing this now. So he's doing reverse, which is allowed, and actually reverse wasteland is one of the few tricks that's actually in logic. Or one of the few extra tricks that's in logic, so the game can actually expect you to do this. But he's using this to get to GGG sooner. As with Dotso, is probably not going to be paying to head in, because that takes time, and that's basically just extortion, and you really shouldn't give in to extortion.
Yeah. Paying for the opportunity to get murdered inside a shady dungeon in a remote part of town or remote part of Hyrule. I think I can get that for free most nights of the week.
You can go to Hyrule?
Well, not Hyrule per se, but
I was hoping you had like a closet like in Narnia. Just open your closet and end up in Hyrule.
If I had, I would not disclose it.
I see, I got it. So you don't have access to one. Gotcha. Meanwhile, on the bottom left, we actually see Shiro is entering Fire Temple, which I think is the first player to enter Fire. So see, she hopefully got the hint for the Fire BK. All of the dungeons, there is a hint telling you where the boss key is.
Oh gosh.
This one's a little far out of the way because that's there aren't any that are super close, but it's up on the top, and it tells you where it is. And honestly, I don't remember what the two locations it is. The question though is asking if the block clip here, if that saves one key compared to going around casually. If you aren't familiar exactly what the block clip is, there's one room in the game where, or in Fire Temple, where you're expected to like push a block around, and then you can see as you walk in, there's a caged Goron that acts as kind of a shortcut for later. And using glitches, you can actually clip into that shortcut region and get there earlier than you're expected. But how many keys do that?
That does save one key.
Does it save exactly 1 key?
Ooh, good question.
Thank you. I hope it's one of 37 good questions. Also, fun fact, this is a question that I really had to look into because I am horrible at key logic, but especially... Okay, I mean, especially spirit key logic, but that means, like, cheating. Especially Fire Temple.
Alpha in chat telling us if it saves too. I mean, it definitely saves the one we need to go through the bow switch room, and I think one more. Yeah.
Which other one?
Lower maze door, says Fortaunt.
Isn't Lower Maze Door the one that Tobias is referring to?
Oh no, it saves 2 because you need 2 keys to get into and out of the bow switch room. Sorry. No, I was thinking about the one getting out of the bow switch room, but yeah, both of them, obviously.
Are both of those locked?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, this question might actually be wrong, because I think we both, Dusk and I, said the answer was 1.
Oh.
So this might be incorrect.
Yeah, no, both of them are locked. Both getting into that round room and getting out of that round room requires a key.
Yeah, I thought the eye room one wasn't locked. Like the eye room, obviously you can shoot the eye, and get into that. But the one next to there, like the long way.
The one that has map chest, you mean?
Yeah, there's the map chest room, and then in the eye switch room, the other side where you would cross, like you enter from the key lock door, and then across there's another door. And I didn't think that one was locked.
Yeah, no, both of them are locked. In and out.
Huh. So maybe this is incorrect, but you potentially may also be able to, like, skip out from the bow room. Unclear.
What is the other chest? Sorry, the other key that you were thinking about then?
Oh, I was thinking there's only the one, which is the lower maze, because I remember the lower maze was locked.
Well.
So, sorry, players. This may be wrong. You can bump hover, but that's not allowed in DDR. So, because I don't think a ground jump is enough to get out of there. You can drop down from the eye switch room. So you could jump down, but that wouldn't save you a key because you still basically have to come back up. I also appreciate that after 2.5 hours, we have 3 players in Fire Temple at the same time. Which feels rare. Oh, but if we're saying in the means that you don't have, if you don't have the shortcut, I guess it also technically depends if you're grabbing all of the chests, which is not clear here, because if you are grabbing all of the chests, it does only save 1 key if you're full clearing, which is, because I think if you're full clearing, it requires, it saves 1 key. No, because you could just jump down there. So then you could save warp. Okay, please open that door so we can check. Because that one just requires the bow. No, please open the door, Chiro. I want to see. Meanwhile, we do see Consultant is going through Shadow Temple at this point. So we do know that all the players have to do this, and this particular one was a question about the gate clip, of if there's a key in the back, if that you are able to get key lock. Which the answer was no. Perfect. And we'll see Dato is arriving now into the upper section. So once again doing that similar clip that we mentioned to try and access this. And Dato, I think, is also going for this spot, which makes me think that this question's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can safe warp out of this spot and use exactly 0 keys for getting into and out of this this room.
Yeah, please look to the right, Dato. Is this one locked?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that one's locked. I forgot that one was locked. My bad.
There's a phrase in German, Dobby, and it says einmal mit Profis arbeiten. I leave that, leave the translation to chat.
Sure.
It was not.
Agree
it
or
was
disagree?
not. It was not an insult. No. Well, it was kind of.
good.
But I'm ribbing you.
Okay, good. Then I definitely agree.
Basically.
Oh, so as I mentioned, on the bottom right.
The thing is, you're just doing too much. You're just doing too much DDR and not enough standard.
I don't understand. This is clearly
Yes, I know. I mean,
the exact perfect amount of standard to do. I also don't do any DDR, so we're good.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you can just blame the guys who checked your questions for you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna throw Dusk under the bus like that because, as mentioned, I think this one is unclear because it depends if you're full clearing or not.
Fair. Actually, no. There is no way you need to these 2 keys to full clear. Thanks, Bitter.
Working with professionals just once, applying someone made a mistake that professionals wouldn't make. There are, there are, I don't know if there are any professionals of this type of thing.
Shiro does disagree with what you wrote on this. But yeah, this is fair. Mistakes happen.
Yeah, Shiro also very clearly disagrees. I was like, where did she post that in chat? Oh no, she wrote it there.
Yeah, she's letting Restream know.
Well, see, the good news is that even if they happen to have a question wrong, this does still tell you the 2 locations in the game, the only 2 you have to check. So you still only are able to. It still saves you having to check every single chest along the way. But yeah, part of the goal is also to make sure that everyone is, correct in terms of their assumptions for DDR Season 2. That includes me. Well, of course, did best to make sure everything's correct. Yeah. Only human. And with 37 questions, if I only get a couple wrong, honestly, better than I expected.
Someone needs to have the answer key though, Dotso. It's fine if I get 90% of the test, but you can't. Dotso. Dobby. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yep. Dotso also has opinions about this. Death warping back down to the beginning of Fire Temple. And yeah, another clip you don't see or another trick you don't see in Standard is clipping below the pedestal here, and we know that that Volvagia's flying body is always there, but it turns out you can actually hurt her and basically bring her down to one hit, where she only needs one hit before you even start the fight. You just jump off the entryway pedestal, and is it weird shot? Down there?
That's weird shot.
Weird shot down there, so you can shoot a bunch of arrows at her flying body that is hidden beneath the platform.
The one important thing to note for that is that even in DDR, Volvagia is scripted to only die when it's stunned, and it can only be stunned with hammer hit. And so, even in DDR, we do still need the hammer in order to beat this boss. Likewise, you still need Boomerang to beat Baronade, and you still need Mirror Shields in order to beat Supernova. These are still constant, even with all of our glitches.
Interestingly, Dotso is opting to go for the standard strat of spamming bombs at her hidden second body.
Technically, if I remember correctly, if it's done optimally, it is faster to do this strat versus do the weird shot. Assuming you don't have ice arrows. If I remember correctly, the order, it's weird shot is better if you have ice arrows. If you don't have ice arrows, it's better to do the bomb chew strat. If you don't have bomb chew strat, then I don't remember the order in terms of bombs and weird shot. Actually, I think it's weird shot then bombs again, but I'm not actually confident. Those two are very minor, and to be honest, all four of those are very minor. And that's as saying, a lot of times this is another case where like you may be losing a couple seconds over setups, but at some point it's just worthwhile to have to not bother learning every single setup for a specific situation, and just have one that you're comfortable with. The chews don't immediately explode once they touch the lava, but usually you combine that with dick nuts. So you throw down a bomb chew and then you throw a nut, and that does explode them. So you can do that pretty fast.
Boss fights are optional.
Yeah, who wants to like fight bosses?
Right, here's Dotso now, with all medallions, all stones, just needs the light arrows to be done with this.
Yep. And let's see, based on his phrasing earlier, I'm pretty sure he's figured out the little snag of the question. In terms of, is it possible, since it's been a while since we discussed this, is it possible to get a hint for a barren area and there be a logically unnecessary progressive strength upgrade in there? So for example, could you have a hint telling you that Thor's Temple is barren and there is a strength upgrade inside? Oh, he picked the wrong one though, I'm pretty sure. So he might have things. Why do I immediately think about Wanderers in
Triforce
that
Blitz.
question? Triforce Blitz with that question? That's a good question. I have no idea.
Wanderer Hints and Triforce Blitz tell you an item is part of the playthrough, but not hard required. As in, it could be it's the bow that the playthrough chooses, but this is not necessarily the only, or definitely not the only bow that you have access to.
So in this particular case, vaguely similar, but it's more to do with the specific item exclusions that we have. Or more specifically, the item exclusions we don't have.
So casually clipping past the door to Darunia's chamber and playing Saria's song for him.
Tearing up Darunia Dad.
Yep. Put that cutscene back in, honestly. And there's light arrows for Dot, so that's go mode.
What a hot beat.
Off to Temple of Time. And Egg answering the question wrong. Getting a fool hint, but knows now where he needs to go, obviously. He's not far behind Dotso. Probably.
Yeah, honestly, these two players are very close.
Yep.
Which is very impressive considering Egg just forgot about the existence of a lot of gossip stones. So honestly, kind of impressive.
You are not wrong. Egg's advantage is he has CL, so he doesn't need to do the clip. He just plays Zelda's Lullaby and gains back about 30 seconds or so from Dotso having to clip to Darunia.
Yeah, I don't know about 30 seconds, but might save a little bit of time.
Well, only because Dotso took a few attempts at that clip.
Oh, true, yeah. If it takes you a couple tries, then I think you're right. That's a camera angle. Thanks again.
Well, can I show that on Twitch?
I don't know. It's a very good question. Yeah, and Neji Malevolent. It is kind of partly also the goal of all the questions being multiple choice. Is even if you happen to not know an answer, you still have basically a 1 in 4 chance of guessing. Or, as you know, in case I'm wrong, that tells you exactly where the other check is. Not that I've ever been wrong in the questions.
Imagine Dobby being wrong.
Can't imagine that.
Alright, Dotso doesn't need any refills, is straight on the way to Ganondorf. Which will... The fight will look a little bit different than what you're probably used to from standard races. There's gonna be no waiting for him to shoot at you, and no waiting for... no using a bottle for this fight. ISG to the rescue. You just ISG, and then you wait out the lightning ball fight, basically.
Yeah, a lot of times we may see Dotso may opt to like climb up and then do a jump slot or do a spin attack. Sorry, a quick spin. Just because he doesn't have a bottle equipped, so that's my guess of what he may end up doing. Just because you can't jump the gaps if you've got ISG active, and so that you have to stand in the middle where Ganondorf will just ground pound and knock you off. So you have to be very careful there.
Okay, yeah, you can technically stand in the corner and just ISG, but that is slow. It takes some time. You're right.
Especially because if you're far away, like you're gonna reflect for a while. So Dotso's done a lot of various categories, and so he's definitely good at that. Well, to be fair, they both did. They both spent time verifying that the DK question was wrong, because it was. And both of them were aware of that it was incorrect. So. So they effectively lost the same amount of time compared to each other. But we'll see. It'll really come down to if one of them dies, but I doubt that. It depends how clean their fights are. They are also very risky in terms of their health, as you might have noticed. They have gotten anytime one of the hints said a heart container, they're like, I don't need it. Go away. So they are at 3 hearts maximum. And some of these attacks hurt. Escape is not included. But just don't get hit and you'll be fine.
Just don't get hit for it.
Yeah. Easy peasy. Up to Zatsu is opting for bottle and then may opt for ISG when it gets to the middle. Man, I'm jealous of like how you can actually see this fight. Because like if you try to get ISG here on N64, there's like 2 frames a minute. It's real fun. Yeah, these guys are basically doing it one-hit KO. Not quite, I think, for the Ganon part of the fight, but for the Ganon fight, absolutely. I think he does. I think he does 4 hearts of damage.
Here's another trick that we can't see in standard. Do you want to explain that for everyone?
So we can explain what he's trying to go for there. During the cutscene when we're in the fight, which we'll see very shortly, Ganondorf knocks away your sword. And when he knocks away your sword, that actually triggers you in-game to use your sword. If you don't trigger that animation, you get to keep it. So what you can do is you can super slide into that cutscene and then hold R. And while he's holding the shield, he will not trigger the animation, and so you get to keep your sword. It's really fun and very satisfying.
And that's the second ISG kill. Does that also save time? Because if so, then Egg might just might be getting very close to Dotso here in terms of who finishes first.
I think it's not very significant either way, just because they've got hammer, so you can just hammer power crouch stab, and the difference is very negligible.
I see.
It might actually waste time, but it's cool, so who cares?
I mean, coolness counts.
Evelyn knows that swag is 9 tenths of the law.
Correct. I mean, it's.
I am not a lawyer, so. So Dasso is playing this a little bit safe in some of the attacks I can see. He was just backing up a bit because, yeah, don't get hit.
There's Mirror Shield for the Consultant. And get your GGs in chat for Doxo, who's going to be the first to finish here. Just barely, with 1 fight face ahead of Eggmeister. Egg getting ISG here from Ganon. And yeah, Dotso first to finish with a time of 2 hours, 49 minutes and 1 second. That was certainly a seed, Robbie. That was a seed.
That was a seed. To answer the question, there are 4 participants, so you can see them all on screen now. And I don't know track of it. This was a fantastic seed. You would absolutely not want this in any single race ever. Technically, it can generate with glitchless, so you wouldn't want it. But technically, it is doable.
There's Eggmeister in 2nd place, thanks CSR bot. And yeah,
GG's to both Egg and Dotso.
GG's. Let's keep an eye on our 2 runners that are still in the race, and meanwhile we are going to see if our runners want to join us for an interview. So it looks like Egg and Dotso are going to join us in a moment. Just give them a moment to, you know, take care of business.
Taking care of business.
It's important. think the consultant also...
I'm gonna guess -2 seconds. That we're gonna start yelling before they even join the VC, is my guess.
Well, let's try that out. Here's Eggmeister. GG's, Egg.
GG.
Thank you. That was a fun seed. Well, it was fun. I liked it. What was the light arrow hint again? I guess I answered that wrong. What was it? Do you know by chance?
I can grab the exact phrasing for you.
Okay, let's go.
Also, Dotso's going to be joining in a couple of seconds too, which she also got that one wrong.
Yeah, that one and the hovers one are the only ones I want to revisit. That's about it. I don't remember what the hovers one was though.
There we go. So yeah, so the hover, the light arrows one was that a barren location can contain a logically unnecessary strength upgrade. True or false?
Does that so it can then?
It can, in fact, contain a logically unnecessary strength upgrade.
So we only did the barren thing for like bow and bombs then.
Bow, bombs, and magic meter.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I was kind of discussing it earlier, and I think the reasons are twofold. First, because we kind of the value of blocking a Baron versus there being a strength upgrade there. It's way nicer to have a Baron hint. And two, honestly, I think I just forgot that strength existed when we created those exclusions.
Wait, no. That can't be true though, because ALR is on, right? So if ALR is on, then logically you have to be able to get every single strength, right? So a strength can't be Baron.
It can be in a Baron.
Actually true. Yeah, it can happen. Because like light trial exists. Alright.
Yeah, it can be in a Baron location.
What?
No, it can't.
I don't think so. Logically, the game, because we have if ALR, all locations reachable, was off, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would have to look at it, but with it on, the game couldn't have a strengthened Baron, I'm pretty sure. Because there's technically checks locked behind all three strengths.
Well, yeah, I do have it logically unnecessary, but I think you're right that because of all locations reachable, it might not care. You might actually be right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like unlike bow or like bomb bag, for example, getting more than one doesn't change anything, right? But getting more strength does change things from a logical perspective.
Correct.
But we went out of our way to make sure that the bow, bomb, and Baron cannot happen. We went out of our way and forced that. I know that. I mean, it didn't matter at that point. I was just like, if I'm wrong about it, I just had to walk over and go to Darunia, so it's not a big deal. Because it's not like it matters.
I did specifically pick those two because they both require Saria's song, so it's not like, it's not like it would be the end of the world either way.
That's where I typed in chat. I'm like, I see what you did here.
Yeah.
Also, thanks for the hookshot location. Nice callback to 5 years ago.
To the hookshot location?
Was that a callback?
Yeah, because I lost the standard race due to it.
Oh, that was not on purpose, even for the slightest.
Okay.
I picked the locations, a lot of them very early. You were asking about the bomb bag. I did make sure that was early. I did make sure since there were a lot of required gold scopulas, I made sure that both boomerang and a hookshot were available early as well. So those were really the ones that I made sure, and the rest I'm like, put it here.
Yeah, where was hookshot? I don't even remember what that was.
Child Dampe.
Child Dampe, and there was one that was...
the other one was... Well, I guess you got that with Ray.
Yeah, the other one was the Cow Grotto in Hyrule Field.
Oh, the one I went into to check the hint and then didn't get the item.
Not Cow Grotto. It was
sorry, it's not
the
Cow Grotto.
near Cac
Yeah.
Grotto.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
got a Sculptula. That's the one.
The other one.
Yeah. Yeah, I just got long shot. I never bothered getting hovers because I didn't feel like doing pose. So what was the hovering again? I swore that the Poe one was incorrect. I thought the archer.
No, it was pose.
Yeah, I
did
pose.
all of them.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I never bothered to get a Poe or anything. I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I don't even remember which order is which. Like, which question was which order, and what order is correct, and, like, I will never know.
Yeah. Yeah, do you have the hovers one, Bobby?
I got the hovers. I actually had it up. So the hovers one was about the 3 dungeons / mini dungeons with the highest number of checks. First was GTG Spirit Shadow. The second was Spirit GTG Shadow, and then there were other 2 that started with Shadow, which are objectively wrong.
And I was discussing that with Dobby at length on Restream because we were disagreeing about whether or not you should count keys in this or not.
Well, checks
it specifically said check, so I was like, okay, it's not the keys.
Yeah, I didn't know off the top of my head. I just assumed GTG, but
GTG was first.
Yeah. Which is actually incorrect. It's specifically because maps and compasses are removed. GTG has 13 items, and Spirit has 12, and because maps and compasses are removed, that puts 14 in Spirit. And 13 in GTG.
Got it.
Yeah, because I did mark it.
I literally right-clicked on the keys in my tracker, just hoping that it was right, and they were wrong. So...
Yeah, I was very careful for that one. I checked the chart that they have, and I think it's Gameplay and Tricks. So that one, I was very specifically looking and being like, hey.
Okay.
Yeah, the one in fire is wrong.
Yeah, that one's my bad. I forgot that the second, like, in the hall, the room where you have to traverse the narrow pathway, I forgot the second door was locked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I went out of my way.
correct that that one's my fault.
I went out of my way to show you that there are 2 small keys.
Me too.
Yeah, Shira wrote on her stream, this skips 2 keys, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess technically, saying it skips 1 isn't incorrect.
No,
I guess
at least one.
It
skips
right?
at least 1.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Yeah. And the other one you asked about was it wasn't hovers. What was the other one you wanted?
Oh, the only ones I got wrong were hovers, lights, and fire.
Oh, rang for me was wrong, but I don't remember what the question was.
I can check.
I think it was a settings one,
here we
so
go.
I was like, I don't know.
So which of the following items can never be a way of the hero? Neonated with Forest, Reckon with Spirit, or all slash none of the above?
So we're using eggs, hints, and S2, right?
A way of the hero item.
Right. Minuet and Requiem are specifically banned from being in Way of the Hero.
Well, they're still a Way of the Hero item. They can't be hinted, but they are still a Way of the Hero item.
Oh, did I just misread that? Okay.
Yeah,
and I think
I was very specific with my technica.
And don't we have Mido skip a lot, like on for logic?
I don't think so.
Yes, we do.
Well,
we do have Mido skip, which is why Minuet is not included.
The
right.
Is obviously not be relevant.
Oh, and that's the question in chat. The last option is all slash none of the above. That was basically all of the D for multiple choice with that, with one exception.
Yeah, the only exception was the other one.
Yeah, the wacky one, I guess. There was one wacky one, which was like a 1.0 QP. Like the answer was false.
Yeah.
And break mud walls. But then it's like, well, I guess if you have fire ice arrows, it does.
Yeah, I legit walked towards the hallway, and I'm like, wait, no, that's rando. Go, turn around.
It was basically me reminding you guys, hey, blue fire arrows aren't active.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was fair. I also just figured it'd be false because, like, that's the harder sculpture to get to. So,
yeah.
You know.
I like the 22 hint too because I was walking into Deku. I was planning on doing the QPA to skip climbing up, and then it's like, oh wait, no, I want the chance.
Yeah, same. I must have misread it though because I thought I said compass, and I was like, oh crap, I must have misread it. But then I just cleared the rest of the room and got it.
Yeah, I used all of the names in the spoiler log, and that one's like Compass Room Gold Skull or something like that.
They're so bad.
The names are horrible, but they're short, and already I was running into issues with
They're not all
apparently Crash Consultants, and I feel bad. But yeah, that's the one that like the text box is so long that when I was testing it, I would get glitchy effects with text box. This morning, this one I thought was okay because the text box texture was missing, but I'm like, screw it, you can read the text, who cares?
Yeah, that
But
was
apparently
weird.
N64 isn't a fan.
Yeah, it's got to be so long that it's overwriting some of the data and how the text boxes are processed. Because I saw the thing on BizHawk where it was just completely transparent for everything, and then VC's like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm just gonna not render the background. It's like, all right.
Which is what BizHawk ended up doing. That was what BizHawk actually ended up doing. Like, this is like version like 10 or something of me trying to get that box, and it ended up with the transparent background.
So
Gotcha.
So was it the Gossip Stone that made one of my Requiems like remove? Like I played Requiem by a stone, and it just had the notes and like the bar was gone and everything. It was really weird. I should pull that up. It must have been because of the stone. It was like all messed up. Never seen it like that before.
I don't know. I'd have to check the VOD to figure out because I don't remember this happening. So
it would be curious to see what would happen if you tried to play fairy songs for that stone that has a ton of text on it.
I mean, you're welcome to try, see what happens.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
I'd imagine it would just work normally.
Load.
I don't know.
It should be fine because it just involved text.
Yeah,
but this is also OoT and text, which have a notorious history of fucking everything up.
Yeah, I just don't know how stones handle putting the text in memory.
Yeah. I was annoyed in the Dongos because I got the classic play a song to get a fairy for Doom Jump, and then the fairy just runs immediately into you, and I'm like, why? Gotta reload.
Chat very much appreciated the Doom Jumps, by the way.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, it's the fastest way to get to that anyway, so if you want the tunic.
The boss key on the Mirror Shield made me legitimately consider learning Spirit Jump in going forward in Season 2 because it's legitimately like the fastest way to do Spirit.
That is true. It is pretty good.
Although I guess we can't because collection delay.
Well,
just learn the glitchless version with the beam.
Yeah, you need a beam to do it in DDR.
Yeah.
And do that
I forgot about collection delay.
Yeah, that's why we can't do the fire arrow.
Oh,
either.
The other one that was wrong was Shadow. The one about needing CL. There's a new Feroz Wind Dive tech that you don't need to hover for.
What? When did this happen?
Like 2 months ago.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I don't know if you can actually get to the back of Shadow using it, but as far as I know, it doesn't require hovering.
Yeah, you can also do the Iron Boots dive, potentially, somewhere. I never tried it, but I know if you do Iron Boots dive in the normal location you do it for the Void Warp, you can't physically do it. You'll hit the Void Plane before the Void Warp comes up. But you can
probably... do it off the bridge.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I tried it. I never got it to work, but I didn't really try that hard. But you probably can do it off the bridge. I would be quite surprised if you couldn't.
But yeah, that's some esoteric nonsense where I was like, this is wrong, but I'm going to answer how I think it's supposed to be answered. Because I know, like, you know.
Yeah, apparently it's esoteric because, like, I mean, I don't know about it, but that's not saying too much. But even Gus doesn't know about it, so...
Yeah, you don't really know it. Yeah, pretty much in any scenario where you're allowed to Void Warp, you're allowed to hover, and there's... So, like, the big red explosion hover is, like, you're never not going to do that.
Yeah, it's so weird that we allow one but not the other. Insofar as like what's possible.
We gotta amend the rules. We gotta ban Void Warp and just do that.
No, dude, just allow hovering.
Well, if you allow hovering, that breaks everything. So.
No, you get one hover per scene.
Per scene? What? Oh, so you can hover off the ground just by one.
Yeah, you get one.
I don't know. You'll probably do some messed up shit with that still. But maybe.
Void Warp.
And end up going like, could you do the water temple? Could you get to Morpha's room with just the one hover?
I don't think a Mega would reach.
No, I think you need 2, and then Mega off the Tectate.
There wouldn't really be much I can think of. Because honestly, if you could make it with one hover, you could probably make it with 2 other methods. So,
sure.
In most scenarios. There's probably like a few, I'd imagine, but I guess maybe if you could do like the invisible seam hover in Zora's Fountain with only one hover off the invisible seam. I don't think you can. I think it requires at least 3.
That doesn't need damage anyway.
Well, you need damage to hover off to get up high enough. Because you use the invisible seam to get high up, and then you go off the sculpture, right?
That one.
Yeah. So if you could do it with only one, I guess that would technically be a thing. But I don't think you can. I think it requires like 3. At least when I do it in Bingo, I use like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Also, some of the speed ups were very surprising. I think neither Tobias nor myself were expecting the speed up in the bottom of Forest Temple.
I only knew about that one because I had done a seed prior to this. But yeah, that one's jarring.
Yeah, like, that one scared the shit out of me when I played it No Logic, like, I think a week ago. I was like, what just happened? And then Armos pushing's faster now, too.
Armos is fast.
Yeah.
However they did it, it also falls faster.
Really?
They have higher gravity than normal, too.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I mean, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll break stuff or if it's a bug or what, but like the one in Spirit, I pushed it off and it like immediately hit the switch, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably not good.
That sounds like we should talk about that some more. Whoops.
Yeah, we really need to get them to understand the gravity of the situation. You know?
Maybe it's just set to like terminal velocity, no matter where it's at. Just immediately goes to -20.
I think that's like global terminal velocity.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like if it doesn't actually accelerate to it, it just always goes to that immediately.
That might be the case, yeah.
Because I can't go any faster than that, unless like they broke.
True.
I don't know. Making it go even faster than that would require a lot more. So to go faster than 20.
Yeah. Also, consultant over here just breaking the rules or trying to.
Did he just try to equip swap?
No, he tried to do a collection delay.
Also, he's got long shot. He could just use the bean, or he could just use the scarecrow.
Yeah, but you gotta like time travel for that.
It does require more time travel. So.
Wait, what is he trying? Is he getting fire or something? Is that what he's doing?
The hook shot jump.
Yeah, he's trying to get the hammer that's on the.
Why don't you just go kill Morpha?
Just go kill Morpha.
Oh yeah.
Just kill Morpha. It sets time of day perfectly, and the water's up.
All right. Anyway,
I think it's time we wrap this one up.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks, Dad.
Exactly. Thank you so much to you, Dotso, and Egg, and obviously also to Shiro and the consultant for agreeing to be on Restream. Thank you to our trackers, who I've also shall name momentarily. Exactly, it was Akashika, Lazy, and Neji Malevolent. And thank you to Dobby for co-calming with me today. Or rather...
I apologize to whoever tracked me. A terrible tracking of myself.
Yeah, I gave up on tracking. I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter. I just didn't bother.
Lazy also, put in valiant effort.
Also, did anyone else ever go to the Storms Grotto in Hyrule Castle?
No, I got Storms and then never
Definitely saw it at least 2 times in this seed. I think maybe 3 times.
That was good text out there, I'm not gonna lie. It being like, wow, I'm surprised you're here. It's pretty good.
I mean, look, I think the heck are you doing here is kind of warranted. Anyway.
It's not my fault I forgot about Cat Grotto.
Yeah. Alright, so, with all those thanks to everyone who volunteered and helped make this race happen today, and this restream happen today, out of the way. Thank you all for watching, obviously, dear viewers, and let's cheer the consultant across the finish line, so let's raid over to him.
Perfect. And yeah, everyone look forward to DDR Season 2, and if you are interested in joining, please do. Always love having new players. So, check out DDR Race Planning, DDR Discussion, all the DDR channels, and the Discord.
The consultant, who also seems to be in chat. Anyway. Yeah, so...
he was in chat earlier because he had the issue with the freezing. So he
that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway,
also, this race is...
this race is over, yeah, that's true.
That was a fun concept. Thanks for putting together Dobby, by the way.
Like, glad I apologize again for the stuff I got wrong, but yeah, I'm glad it turned out not absolutely horribly.
Well, to be fair, hints are supposed to have some bait in them, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going for.
Just artificially put bait in the hints. That's just how it be.
Yeah, but folks, if you are interested in the Dungeon Door requirement rule set, do check out the DDR channels in the OoT Randomizer Discord, discord.gg/OoT Randomizer, I think. Could just probably type the Discord command in chat, exactly discord.gg/OoT Randomizer. There's a bunch of people willing to help you and show you the ropes. And until then, see you over on the consultant stream. Bye!